नमो विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियत्मने श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदांत नारायणति नाम्ने पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय जय सुन्दरा नन्द कुमार जय जय सुन्दरा नन्द कुमार सोराबसाङ्गता वृन्दावना तथा सोराबसाङ्गता वृन्दावना तथा विहितावसां विहितावसां जय जय सुन्दरा नन्द कुमार ओ जय जय सुन्दरा नन्द कुमार अभिनव कुमाला गुच्छसमोज्ज्वला अभिनव कुमाला गुच्छसमोज्ज्वला कुञ्चिता कुन्तलभा कुञ्चिता कुन्तलभा प्रणये जनेता वन्दना कृता प्रणये जनेता वन्दना कृता चूर्णिता वरघनसा चूर्णिता वरघनसा जय जय सुन्दरा नन्द कुमार जय जय सुन्दरा नन्द कुमार जय नंद कुमार जय नंद कुमार बोलो नंद कुमार जय नंद कुमार जय जय सुंदर नंद कुमार जय जय सुंदर नंद कुमार अधरा विराजिता मंदतरा स्मिता अधरा विराजिता मंदतरा स्मिता लोभिता निज परिवार लोभिता निज परिवार रत्नादिगांचला रचिता रसोचला रत्नादिगांचला रचिता रसोचला राधा मदन विकार राधा मदन विकार जय जय सुंदरा Nanda Kumar. Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar. Jai Nanda Kumar, Bala Nanda Kumar, Shri Nanda Kumar, Jaya Nanda Kumar, Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar, Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar, Bhuvana Vimohana Manjula Nartana Bhuvana Vimohana Manjula Nartana Gati Valgita Maniha Gati Valgita Maniha Nijvalabhajana Suhit Sanatana Nijvalabhajana Suhit Sanatana Chitta Viharan Avatar Chitta Viharan Avatar Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar Jaya Jaya Sundara Nanda Kumar Jai Nanda Kumar Jaya Nanda Kumar Shri Nanda Kumar Bola Nanda Kumar Jai Jai Sundara Nanda Kumar Jai Jai Sundara Nanda Kumar Jai Nanda Nandan Jaya Yashoda Nandan Jaya Nanda Nandan Jaya Yashoda Nandan Jaya Nanda Nandan Jaya Yashoda Nandan Nanda Nandan Jaya Yashoda Nandan Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jai Srirupa Gosvami Jaya Srirupa Gosvami Srirupa Gosvami Jai Srirupa Gosvami Jaya Srirupa Gosvami Jaya Srirupa Gosvami Srirupa Goswami Jai Srirupa Goswami Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Guru Parampara 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 Nitai Gaura Hariba Hariba Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Haribo
Go Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Shishi Guru Garangigan Havajatiri Hari. Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhaktivedanta Bhamana Maharaj Goswami ki jai. Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Param Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai Jagat Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimat Srila Bhakti Siddhanti Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat Srila Gaurikishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Saptam Goswami Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Jai Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Gaudiya Varantaracharya ki jai. Jai Rasik Siromani Srila Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Traya ki jai. Jai Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Jai Shri Rup, Sanatan, Shri Bhata Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal, Bhattadasa Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu's ki jai. Jai Swarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Gaur Parsadi ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sika Holsi Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasari, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Antadvip, Mayapur, Simantadvip, Gautramdvip, Madhyadvip, Koladvip, Ritudvip, Janadvip, Modramdvip, Budadvip, Apnako, Navadvip, Dham ki jai. Shri Bhadravan, Bandiravan, Belvan, Lohavan, Mahavan, Madhuvan, Talvan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, Vrindavan, Kadyavan, Kamyavan, Brajamandal ki jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopiko Govardhan Dwalasavar Matmika, Shri Brajamandal ki jai. Shri Shamakund, Radhakund, Giri Govardhana ki jai. Ganga Jamuna Devi, Bhakti Devi, Tulsi Devi, Maharani ki jai. Purnamasi Devi, Yogamaya Maharani ki jai. Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra ki jai. Jai Shingadev Bhagavan ki jai. Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Charidam ki jai. Chari Sampradaya ki jai. Chari Acharya ki jai. Akara Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat ki jai. Shri Keshav Ji Gaudiya Mat ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gauda Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha. Kripa Sindhuvevicha. Patitanam Papnibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Radhika Devi, that was very beautiful. I love when you sing. Always makes my heart a little bit softer. So I'm just gonna Om Gyan Timiran Sirgyan Janashtakaya Chakshmi Namaskara Yashi Guru Vishaya Mutaleshi Bhakti Saksha Guru Sakamapesha. Sorry, I just got a bit nervous there and just lost everything that I was about to say there. But just before I start, I wanted to introduce myself for everyone on this call who hasn't seen me yet, because I actually haven't been on any of these calls yet. My name is Vishnupriya Dasi. I'm a disciple of Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj, and I'm also the younger cousin of Yashodhari, who so beautifully put together this Bhakti Zoom with our dear Yashodanandan Prabhu, and with the help of Srila Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Vikanas Maharaj to do this virtual Vrindavan tour for us, parikram for us, which we are so fortunate for us who don't get to be in the Dham during this time. We're so fortunate that these Maharajas so causelessly have just showered their mercy and are taking us through this parikram virtually. So thank you so much, Maharajas. And I am firstly going to introduce our first speaker, who is Sri Mangor Sundar Prabhu. He's a disciple of Srila Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj, and today it is the Tirabhav Tithi of Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Maharaj, and yes, he's graciously going to share some Harikatha. He actually travels all over India, preaching the mission and preaching the glories of Shri Guru and Gauranga. So yeah, thank you so much. Probably you've got about an hour to speak.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Hare Krishna, then pranams to everyone. Mama Gyantimirandhasya Gyananjanishalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Gurudevaya Dhimate Saumyamurtaye Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Prabhave Shri Mahatmane Vishuddha Bhakti Siddhanta Vani Pracharine Sate Satvata Shastra Sativyakya Nipunaya Mahamate Brahma Sutra Shruti Smrito Gaudiya Bhashakarine Shastra Yukta Statastotra Vipratipatti Nashine Shri Saraswat Gaudiyadhisha Seva Prakashine Vaishnavacharya Devaya Nitya Kalyana Daine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my unlimited obeisances to the lotus feet of Guru Pad Padma, Paramaratam Parivrajacharya, Om Vishnu Padashtotarshat, Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. I pay my innumerable obeisances to the lotus feet of Param Gurudev Varga, Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnu Padashtotarshat, Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and whose divine appearance Vyas Puja Mahotsav we are celebrating today, the very dear associate of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupada Ashtotarshat Shri Srimad Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, to all the associates of Srila Prabhupada, and to the entire Rupanuk Guru Parampara. I pay my obeisances to Srimad Bhaktivedanta Danti Maharaj and all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis. I pay my Yathayat Dandavat Pranam to all of you. Hare Krishna. I would also personally like to thank Sri Yashodhara Didi for engaging this insignificant soul and glorifying Vaishnavas. Of course, it's a appearance day of our Param Gurudev, and everyone is quite excited to listen to the glories and to speak about his glories. I could have might spend my time in some material talks, so Didi personally pulled me from there and engaged me here for speaking Harikatha. I'll try to purify my words by speaking the glories of such great personality. We are celebrating this month of Kartik with festivals each and every day. And last 3 days, from last 2 days, the Tirobhav Tithi of Srila Bhaktivedanta Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj. Yesterday, all of us celebrated the Tirobhav Tithi of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And now there is this appearance day of Srila Bhakti Srirup Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj. Our Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita is mentioning that Ei sab leelar kabu nahi pariched avirbhav tirobhav kahe matra bhed. That the avirbhav and tirobhav, last 2 days there were tirobhav tithis, and today we have avirbhav tithi. So this is just the usage of two words, avirbhav and tirobhav. Just the words are different, but the pastimes are eternal. The associates of Srimad Mahaprabhu, the associates of Sri Radha Krishna, they are eternally engaged in the seva, and this Avirbhav and Tirobhav Leela that they manifest in this material world is just a kind of delusion to the material people. Guru Vargas are eternal. They are always present in this material world, even if we are not able to witness them physically in front of us. Our Vishwanath Chakri Thakur and other Guru Vargas, They explain it very nicely that Guru Vargas, why do they manifest this disappearance pastime? They were in front of us. They taught us. They guided us whenever there was needed. And now that they are manifesting this disappearance pastime, they are not physically in front of us. What's the reason behind it? Why do they do this? A very nice example has been given. Like a mother, she teaches the baby how to walk. A toddler, she holds the finger of the baby and teach that toddler how to walk. And when the baby start walking, he with his own efforts start walking a little bit, then the mother actually hides somewhere. And while hiding, she checks whether the baby is able to walk properly or not. And while walking, using his own efforts, when the baby starts walking, the mother keep watching and she enjoys it. She feels very happy. And if there is any situation wherein the baby is going to fall, all of the sudden she comes up and she holds the baby. Similarly, Guru Vargas, they have from the very beginning taught us this path of devotion. They are guiding us in every step of our devotional practice. And then all of the sudden, when they manifest this disappearance pastime, they are actually hiding somewhere. They are hiding at the back. They are witnessing what kind of sadhan we are performing in their physical disappearance. They are keeping an eye whether we are following their instructions, whether we are walking on the path that has been showed by them properly or not. So this is the disappearance and appearance. The words just are different, but Avirbhav, Tirobhav, Kahe Matra Bhed. Just the words are different. The pastimes are always eternal. Guru Vargas are eternally present. And today, this appearance day of Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, Srila Param Gurudev, he was actually born in Bangladesh. There is Barishat district of Bangladesh where he took birth in a very rich landlord family. And from a very young age, he had inclination towards deity worship, towards the scriptures, towards sadhus. It is seen in the life of Uddhavji, how when he was a kid, he would play with the deity of Krishna. All the games that he would play were associated with Krishna Leela, were associated with one or the other pastime of Lord. So these great personalities, this inclination which is seen in their life, how from a very early age they are inclined towards Thakur Seva or Sadhu Sangh. This is nothing astonishing. They are eternally engaged in the seva of Radha Krishna. So even when they come to this material world, they perform this sadhak leela, a practitioner pastime. Then also they are somehow inclined towards that. And these associates, all the associates of Prabhupada, they are for sure not ordinary. We all have heard when Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, after the disappearance of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, when he wanted to perform Nirjan Bhajan, secluded bhajan, he went to Mayapur and he started his Shatakoti Nam Yagya. He was performing 100 crore Nam Yagya, and he was very much away from preaching this mission of Sriman Mahaprabhu. One fine day, Sri Prabhupada, Sri Vimla Prasad, got a dream from all the associates of Srila Prabhupada, Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, all of the Guru Varga. They actually ordered Vimla Prasad that, oh, Vimla Prasad, you should not stay here and perform secluded bhajan. The teaching, the mission of Sriman Mahaprabhu will completely vanish if you don't preach these teachings. So you should engage in preaching this mission. Sri Vimla Prasad at that time said, how can I preach this mission of Mahaprabhu alone? I want janbal, which means I need people, I need wealth, I need financial help. Without this, how can I preach this mission? So Mahaprabhu himself said, assured that I'm going to send people. I'm going to send financial help. Whatever is needed, I'm going to send you. You just start preaching. You should make effort, and I will send everything. Whatever is needed, I'm going to make arrangement. So all the associates of Srila Prabhupada, they are actually being sent to Prabhupada by Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj Ji, he at a very young age came to the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. It was at 17 years of age when he took shelter of Srila Prabhupada. And the way he got introduced with Gaudiya Math, this incident is also very astonishing. Uh, Srila Bhakti Srirup Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, his father and mother named him Shiv Shankar De. So Shiv Shankar De, when he was in college at the age of 17 years, he was the head of Ramakrishna Mission Party in Bengal. Earlier, Bangladesh and West Bengal, it was not separated. So in Bengal, the teachings of Vivekanand and Ramakrishna Mission has been spread very widely. Swami Vivekanand is an iconic personality in the entire world, though. He was the one who went to different places in abroad and introduced Hinduism. This Ramakrishna Mission teachings, this philosophy is very much spread in Bengal, and Sri Shiv Shankar De was actually the head of the party, local party there. When he was in college, he got to know that few sadhus from Gaudiya Mission have arrived nearby and they are doing some preaching program. So Sri Shiv Shankar De invited those sadhus in the college, and they wanted to have some spiritual discourse from those sadhus. It was actually Sri Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj, a very dear associate of Srila Prabhupada, who came to the college and wanted to and started giving the lecture. In Hindi, there is a saying that Pratham Darshandhari par Gun Vichari, which means initially the appearance is witnessed, and then whatever you are speaking, that has to be checked. So Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj, such a bold, huge personality, such a magnificent and attractive personality, Shiv Shankar Dev was almost attracted looking at the personality of such a great sadhu. He never saw such a great sadhu with such a effulgent face and such a great body, and so much of transcendental effulgence would come from his body. So Srila Bhaktivivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj, when he came to the college, for 1 hour, he spoke on the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Dharam Kshetre Kurukshetre Samveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavascheva Kim Akurvat Sanjaya. He spoke on this first shloka from the commentary of Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhu. Srila Bhaktivivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj explained each and every word very nicely. Why the place has been called as Dharam Kshetra. Kurukshetra, why Dharam Kshetra, this phrase has been used. And Pandavas and Kauravas, when both of them have assembled in Kurukshetra for a war, what is the purpose of Dhritarashtra asking, Kim Akurvat Sanjaya? What my sons and Pandavas did. So all these details from the commentary of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, it was explained by Bhaktivivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj in that 1 hour of lecture. And Shiv Shankar De was completely lost. He never heard such detailed explanation of just one shloka from Bhagavad Gita. And after the Harikatha discourse, Kirtan started. Gaudiya Math Kirtan, Shri Bhaktivivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ji, he sung the Kirtan, Gopinath Mam Nivedana Shuno. Vishay Durjana Sada Kame Rat Kichu Nahi Mora Guno Gopinath Mam Nivedana Shuno. Bhaktivinoda Bharati Goswami Maharaj, in a very loud and attractive voice, he sung this kirtan with Mahamantra, and all the sadhus who came along with him, they danced in ecstasy. The entire crowd who was present to listen to the lecture, all of them started dancing in ecstasy. And Sri Shiv Shankar De almost lost his heart in the lotus feet of that sadhu. The program somehow winded up, everyone left, but Shiv Shankar, he decided that I'm going to go along with the sadhu. I will also myself become a monk. I will not stay in college. I'll not stay at home any further. The next day, Shiv Shankar searched for the whereabouts of where the sadhu went and how I can meet with him. He reached to Srila Bhaktivinoda Bharati Goswami Maharaj Ji. And he was kind of fearful in expressing, revealing his heart. Where he went to the sadhu, he went to Srila Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaji, but he did not dare to speak what is going on within his mind. Srila Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaji understood that the boy want to say something. So he asked, "Oh boy, why are you here? Are you looking for someone? Do you want to say something?" Shiv Shankar Dey said that, "Yes, I want to say something, but not to you, to that small brahmachari who is standing there." Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaji ordered him, "Go, just have a word with him." So Shiv Shankar Dey revealed his heart that I want to go along with you. I want to become a sadhu. When this news reached Srila Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he became very much happy, and he took Shiv Shankar Dey to Gaudiya Math, to the shelter of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Shri Shiv Shankar Dey was at that time he was studying law, advocateship, and when he took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, it was 17 years of age. I think it was in 1924. In 1924, on the day of Gaur Purnima, he was given Diksha and Harinam. Srila Prabhupada, he gave Diksha and Harinam on this Gaur Purnima day, 1924, and the name was changed to Siddhaswarup Brahmachari. Siddhaswarup Brahmachari. Sri Siddhaswarup Brahmachari, after that, started serving Srila Prabhupada whenever possible. But while staying in the mutt, he saw that the associates of Prabhupada are very learned. They are such great scholars, all of them very highly qualified. And Siddhaswarup Sri Shiv Shankar Dey, he left the college without completing the studies. So he thought, I should better go back. I should complete my studies. I should be qualified enough. And then I'll come back for the seva of Prabhupada. So he returned and he completed his studies. He was studying his law, and our Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaji at that time went to Shiv Shankar Dey and convinced him that, oh, you should now skip your studies and you should come to for the seva of Prabhupada. Why? Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur has mentioned, Jad Vidya Jato Mayar Vaibhav Tomar Bhajane Badha मोह जन्मिया अनित्य संसारे जीव के करे गाधा. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one of the kirtan he's saying that this material knowledge is very delusional. It creates such a entanglement in the material world that a person start doing tireless efforts like a donkey. The efforts of a donkey, whatever the burden he is going to take on his back, all of them are useless. Ultimately, he's going to get that dry grass to eat. No matter how much lavishly food items he is taking on his back, but the end result is nothing. Similarly, this material knowledge is also useless. In fact, this is creating attachment, false attachment in in this world. So Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaji convinced Siddhaswarup Brahmachari that you should come back, you should leave whatever you have studied up till now, that's fine. No need to complete the degree now. Come for the seva of Prabhupada. So 4 years later, it was in 1928 that Sri Siddhaswarup Brahmachari came to Gaudiya Math, completely renounced. He started staying in Gaudiya Math from then. And he was actually the personal assistant of Srila Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj. Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj was the one who brought him to Gaudiya Math. He was kind of his Siksha Guru, Path Pradarshak Guru. So he would always stay close to them. And whenever there was any opportunity for preaching, he would go along. We have heard those two incidents wherein Siddhaswarup Brahmachari very boldly spoke about Jatomat Tatopat, and then he spoke about Swami Vivekananda's false philosophies. I'll just give a little bit detail on both of it. Those we all are aware though, but still. So it was in Memansingh district of Bangladesh. Once a assembly, Sanatan Dharma Sabha, was organized. People there assembled, and the topic of discussion was Jato Mat Tato Path, that there are different ways to reach a same destination. all the path goes to the same destination. Jato mat, tato pat. So, Srila Siddhaswarup Brahmachari, when he spoke on this topic, he completely spoke against the topic. Jato mat tato pat is a completely bogus philosophy. This is not possible at all. Sri Siddheswarup Brahmachari quoted different shlokas from scriptures saying that all the path will not take you to the same destination. Yanti Devrata Devan, Pitrini Yanti Pitrivata, Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja, Yanti Madhyajino Bhimam. Lord in Bhagavad Gita is mentioning very nicely that those who are worshipping ghosts will go to their lok. Those who are worshipping Pitrigan, ancestors, they will go to their lok. Those who are worshipping demigods, they will go to their lok. But those who are worshipping me will reach my abode. So, how all the path can reach to the same destination? It's like boarding any random train and reaching our desired destination. This can never happen. Every train is designed to reach a particular destination. Similarly, every path has a different destination. Jatomat, Tatopat, that philosophy is completely bogus. There are different ways to different. Gurudev, just a minute.
I think Prabhu's probably got some seva that he needs to do potentially, is why he's been interrupted there. But I guess whilst we're here, I can just reflect on some of the things he was potentially saying. I mean, just now he was speaking of, okay, oh, Prabhu's back. Save me. Thank you very much. We're just going to unmute you. Give me one moment.
I'm very sorry. My Gurudev just came for a very urgent task, so I had to unmute. So
You were speaking about the you can't take any path and get you to the same location.
Right. Jatomat Tatopat. Sri Siddhasaru Brahmachari quoted different shlokas from scriptures mentioning that not every path will take you to a fixed final destination, the desired destination. There are different paths which take you to different destinations. Now the question may come up, what path to follow? Sri Siddhaswarup Brahmachari quoted that Mahajano Yena Gata Sapantha, the path which has been showcased by Mahajan, by great personalities, by Mahabhagavat, that path should be accepted. Who are the Mahajan? In Bhagavatam, it has been described very beautifully in the sixth canto. Sri Yam Maharaj is saying that there are 12 Mahajan. Kapil, 12 Mahajan, they are mentioning Narad, Kapil, Vyas, and then Shuk. All these names have been quoted there. So these 12 great personalities, Mahajan, the path which has been accepted by them, if we follow that path, then we will reach the perfect destination. Not every path will take you to the perfect destination. Like this, when he cut the arguments, when he spoke against the topic, the public reaction was not normal. All of them were very agitated. They uh, they in fact started throwing pebbles and bricks, soda bottles on the speaker. Another such incident happened wherein Sri Siddhaswarup Brahmachari spoke against the philosophy of Vivekanand. Though Vivekanand, his philosophy, his teachings are very much acceptable for those who are in the mode of ignorance. Like he has instructed in few of his instructions, he has mentioned that one should better water eggplants rather than watering tulasi. Swami Vivekanand has mentioned this. There is no point of watering the tulsi plant. You should better water a plant of eggplant so that at least you will have the fruit. And what's the point of reading Bhagavad Gita? Better you should engage your time in playing football. That will keep your body healthy. So such kind of points are there in the teachings of Vivekanand. The teaching of Srimad Mahaprabhu are superlative degree. So Sri Siddhaswarup Brahmachari at that time spoke against these teachings of Vivekanand. He glorified that how Tulsi Seva is very necessary. He glorified that how reading Bhagavad Gita can change the entire life of a person. Bhagavad Gita is not ordinary. Ya Swayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padma Vinisrita. These are the very words from the lips of Shri Krishna. So when he spoke against those teachings of Sri Swami Vivekanand, then the assembly also got agitated. There also kind of similar reaction. They started throwing pebbles and bricks. But somehow Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj was there. So he convinced the public politely. And the next, when they informed Prabhupada about this incident, they were actually saying that Siddhasarup Brahmachari has spoiled our preaching. He spoke such a Harikatha that the entire public became against us, and they are not willing to organize any further programs. It was a 3-day assembly though, but they said that we will cancel the program. The next 2 days, you will not get an opportunity to speak. When Prabhupada got this letter, Prabhupada in return gave a reply that Siddhaswarup Brahmachari has done a preaching worth rupees 1 lakh. 1 lakh was a huge amount at that time. Prabhupada said that my Harikatha is not going to attract normal audience. Whatever the real truth from the speaker, from the scriptures that I speak, if you're going to present that in a similar way, the way I do, then you're not going to attract audience. This agitation, this revelation is about to come. But Siddhaswarup Brahmachari, he spoke as it is, what I am speaking. So he has not actually spoiled the preaching. He has actually done a preaching worth rupees 1 lakh. Why Prabhupada said this? Because the reaction of the public was so loud that the newspaper, all the news channels came there, and they published about this incident in the front page of the newspaper. There was Dainik Nadia, Dainik Prakash, kind of Kolkata newspaper, local newspaper, where the headlines was this incident. How a preacher of Gaudiya Math came and he agitated the entire crowd, like this was the front headline. So anyway, Gaudiya Math is the name of the Gaudiya Math is reaching from door to door. So Prabhupada said that I'm coming tomorrow and I'm going to address the assembly and I'm going to convince the entire assembly. Don't worry. The next day, Prabhupada reached there and he asked Siddhasarup Brahmachari, "Oh, you stand up and just explain why you spoke against Vivekananda's philosophy. Why did you spoke against Jatomat Tatopad?" Like this, then Siddhasarup Brahmachari again got the opportunity. He, from the scriptures, quoted all the shlokas and he satisfied the crowd. So the teaching from here, what I'm trying to present is the fearlessness which was present in the heart of Siddhaswarup Brahmachari. He would not backstep in speaking the truth, the real truth from scriptures, the words of Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes in Niti Shastra, it has been mentioned, Satyam Bruyat, Priyam Bruyat, that you should speak truth, but that truth should be pleasing to ear. If that truth is unpleasing, then better not speak it, better lie. This is from Niti Shastra. But Prabhupada, they are the real speaker of the truth. Doesn't matter if this truth is pleasing to you or it may be very unpleasing. If it is targeting the upliftment of the soul, if it is spiritually nourishing the person, then it should be spoken. Doesn't matter if it's pleasing or unpleasing. So Siddhaswarup Brahmachari imbibed this conduct of Srila Prabhupada and possessed so much of fearlessness because of his surrendered mood. Sharang Sharnagati Haive Jahar Tahar Pratana Shune Shinand Kumar. Rakshishyati iti Vishwaso, that Krishna is for sure going to protect me in all the situations. Such kind of surrendered mood Siddhasarup possessed, which is why he spoke in front of all that assembly fearlessly. Sri Siddhasarup Brahmachari, he was staying always in the preaching programs wherever needed, and he would stay with Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaji a lot. There was once what happened, Srila Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he chastised and he in fact beat Sri Siddhaswarup Brahmachari with a stick. And while beating, the stick in fact broke. So everyone in the mutt was thinking that such a chastisement, it's not proper. Siddhaswarup Brahmachari might feel bad. And later, when there was a preaching program, Siddhaswarup Brahmachari was asked that, will you go along with Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaj? Siddhaswarup Brahmachari said, yes, I'm going to go along with him. Why? Because he's the one who is always favoring me in my spiritual upliftment. Doesn't matter if he's chastising me, doesn't matter if he's beating me, even if he is beating me to death, I'm not going to leave his association. He's the one who brought me to the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. So such kind of directive behavior, such kind of commanding behavior, Sri Siddhaswarup Brahmachari accepted in his Sadhak Leela. And similar kind of commanding nature he had towards his disciples. Towards his disciple also, he would not tolerate just a bit of nuisance or anything here and there. Our the Acharya, the previous Acharya, Srila Bhakti Ranjan Sagar Goswami Maharaj, he just disappeared last year. So he was mentioning once that he was mentioning about his Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj. He was saying that once I was just watching outside out of the window to see what's going on the main road. There was a window nearby in the mart, in the Kolkata mart. So he was watching outside what's happening on the road. And his Gurudev saw. When his Gurudev saw it, he said, his name was Nityananda. So he said, oh, Nityananda, what are you doing? Gurudev, nothing. I was just checking if someone is there outside the door. I was just checking outside the window. He said, Nityananda, I'm going to make arrangement. Don't worry. And the next day, what he did, he just removed the window from here. He just covered the entire space with brick. There was no scope of mistake. He would chastise his disciples a lot so that all of them are sincerely engaged in Hari Seva. And it's not like an Acharya is just going to chastise his disciple. Similar kind of affection also he possessed towards his disciples. Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, along with Srila Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaj, established Saraswat Gaudiya Asan and Mission. The headquarters is in Kolkata. When Srila Prabhupada disappeared, all of the associates, they were having pangs of separation. So it was Siddhaswarup Brahmachari who took sannyas in 1941. And he was named Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj. And he, along with his elder god brother, Sri Bhakti Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he established this society, Saraswat Gaudiya Asano Mission. The headquarters was in Kolkata. He established 2 more centers in Jagannath Puri and Navadip. So 3 centers were there. Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, he had one major contribution for our Gaudiya lineage, that is the commentary on Govinda Bhashya. We all know about Govinda Bhashya, the commentary on Vedanta Sutra by Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhu. When Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhu came to Jaipur in Galta Gaddi, he had a debate, an argument with the Ramanandi sadhus, where the worship of Radha Govinda Dev was established, and then Krishna should be worshipped first. All this, it's a detailed discussion topic. You all must have heard of it. So, Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhu at that time wrote Govinda Bhashya, the commentary on Vedanta Sutra. And this Govinda Bhashya is really difficult to understand. It's a Sanskrit language, and it was quite hard. So Srila Siddhaswarup, Sri Bhakti Srirup Siddhanti Goswami Maharaji, he wrote a commentary on that Govinda Bhashya, which is Siddhant Kana. The name of this commentary is Siddhant Kana Tika. And in that commentary, he has very beautifully and he, in a very simple, understandable manner, he has explained the Vedanta Sutras. And not just a detailed explanation of Govinda Bhashya, but along with that detailed explanation, he has also quoted the shlokas which are related to a particular Vedanta Sutra. I'll try to explain it a little bit. For example, there is a sutra, Janma Dasya Jataha. One of the Vedanta Sutra, Janma Dasya Jataha. Now, this Janma Dasya Jataha, these just 2 words but these two words has so much of depth in it. And this one sutra, Janmadasya Jata from Vedant Sutra, how it reconciles with which shloka of Bhagavatam Srila Param Gurudev quoted in his commentary. Which payar of Chaitanya Charitamrit is related to this sutra of Vedanta Srila Param Gurudev quoted in it. And along with that, whatever references he found from the commentary, Vishnu Chakri Thakur, Jiva Goswami, Baldev Vidyabhushan, he quoted all of them in his commentary. In a very systematic and simplified manner, he has presented this Siddhanta Kana, this commentary on Govinda Bhashya, and those who have read it, that's uncomparable. Na bhuto na bhavishyati. It is such a major contribution of Srila Param Gurudev for us that though other associates of Srila Prabhupada, they tried to write on this commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Srila Bhakti Gaurav Vekhanas Maharaj, and I'm forgetting the name. There was another associate of Srila Prabhupada who wanted to work on this Vedanta Sutra because it was the desire of Srila Prabhupada. But they were not able to do it in this detailed manner. Srila Param Gurudev, Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, wrote in a very detailed and simplified manner this Siddhanta Kanatika, for which our Gaudiya lineage will always stay indebted. And along with such Siddhantic side, this philosophical side of Srila Param Gurudev, he was also very rasic. In scriptures, a very beautiful analogy has been given that Acharya, they are Vajradapi Kathorani, Mriduni Kusumadapi. They are very strong and very rigid like a mountain when it comes to the philosophy. But they are very soft and tender like a flower. When Srila Param Gurudev would stay in Kolkata Mutt, he would stay for 10 months in Kolkata Mutt. He would stay for 1 month in Kartik in Navdeep Mutt, and he would stay for 1 month during Rath Yatra time in Jagannath Puri. Such was his entire year schedule. So for 10 months, he would stay in Kolkata, serving Srila Prabhupada, preaching his mission, and managing the temples. So when he would stay in Kolkata Mutt, all the disciples would get his association. And along with that chastisement, they would also get the warmth and parental affection from Srila Param Gurudev. I would request all of you to please visit the center once. You would find that how beautifully it has been decorated by Param Gurudev. These three centers, all of these three centers, Sri Param Gurudev himself have guided the artist how the pastimes should be designed on the walls. Our mutt from Jagannath Puri, this is called as Chitra with Chitra Mutt. In our Gaudiya Mutt, this the paintings and the art that we do on the walls, this was actually started by Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj. So he started this concept wherein he had this mood that anyone who is entering the temple should witness, because with eyes he would see whatever is around. So his mind should be engaged, remembering Krishna Leela, Gaur Leela, Ram Leela, Upadeshamrit, Manasiksha. So in that Kolkata Mutt, on the ground floor, there is Harikatha Hall. And this Harikatha Hall, he has named it Bharti Sadan, on the name of Srila Bhakti Vivek Bharti Goswami Maharaj. He has named it Bharti Sadan. Then on the first floor, we have the DT room. And in front of that, there is little space where Kirtan is done at times. And then on the second floor, he had his Bhajan Kutir. So during summers, when it would be very hot, Srila Param Gurudev would actually leave his Bhajan Kutir from the second floor and would come to first floor when the deities are given shayan, when the deities are after bhog, when the deities are taking rest. So all the brahmacharis, they would sleep in the Natya Mandir. At that time, there were no personal rooms for the brahmacharis. And Param Gurudev would strictly not allow anyone to stay alone. He wanted all the brahmacharis to stay together and always be together in association. So that, because if empty mind, devil's workshop, So, which is why he would always ask the brahmacharis to stay together. So, all the brahmacharis, when they were sleeping in Natya Mandir on the first floor, Param Gurudev, his bhajan kutir is on second floor. So, he would come downstairs and he would sleep along with the brahmacharis on the floor itself. When he would walk from second floor to the first floor, what he would do, he would actually keep the keys of the entire locks with him. The key of Thakur Grah, the DT room, the key of the storeroom, kitchen storeroom, the normal storeroom, the main gate, and all these keys he would keep with him. He would keep them hanging on his belly. So when he would walk from second floor to first floor, while walking down the stairs, there would be some sound from the keys. So he would hold the keys very tightly so that the brahmacharis are not disturbed. And when he would come to first floor, or when all the brahmacharis are sleeping, he would sleep along with them. If by any chance some brahmachari got up, all of a sudden, oh, Gurudev is here. So he would just ask him to keep quiet. Do not disturb brahmacharis. They serve the entire day. Now in the noon time that they are taking some rest, let them sleep. So such kind of parental affection also he would shower on all the disciples. Once, what happened? The previous acharya, Srila Bhaktivedanta Sagar Maharaj, he committed some mistake. So uh, in what it was evening Harikatha session, all the devotees were assembled, and in that assembly, he asked, "Oh Nityananda, you get up." So that brahmachari got up, and in front of everyone, Sri Param Gurudev chastised this Nityananda, this boy that you see, he did this, he did that, he's such a that boy, this. He insulted, purposely he did it. He wanted to check the tolerance of that brahmachari. So, purposely in front of everyone, he chastised that brahmachari. And Nityananda Prabhu, he just did not speak anything. With head down, lips just sealed, he kept listening to everything. And later, Srila Param Gurudev went to him and he consoled him that whatever I told you, did you feel bad? The way Srila Param Gurudev consoled Nityananda Prabhu, it was full of so much of affection that Srila Maharaj, Sri Nityananda Prabhu was saying that I can accept such chastisement my entire life without any objection. And he would say that I am now an acharya. It's only because my Guru Maharaj have chastised me. He has always kept me under his command. Once what happened, Srila Param Gurudev, there was some mistake done by Sri Nityananda. So he started beating Nityananda. And while beating him, even the stick broke. But Srila Nityananda Prabhu, when he became an acharya, he was saying that I am an acharya now only because my Gurudev have chastised me. My Gurudev, he has always kept me under his command. So there are these two aspects of the acharya, wherein in one side he is very soft, very subtle, like a flower, and on the other side, when there is mistake, whenever there is any wrong thing done, then he is there to chastise. There are a lot of incidents, a lot of incidents wherein Srila Param Gurudev have showcased these things. And one specialty of Param Gurudev was that he was very much keen towards Vaishnav Seva. Rather than our scripture says that there are three kind of Vaishnav: Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. For Kanishta Vaishnav, scripture says, Archayam eva hare ya pujam shraddhayate na tad bhakteshu chaneshu sabhakt prakrit smrita. That Kanishta Bhakt are very much inclined towards deity worship. They are very much excited for deity worship, for Bhagavad Seva, but they have no interest in Vaishnava Seva, devotee Seva. Then Madhyamadikari. Madhyamadikari are those who have equal interest towards deity worship as well as towards devotee worship. Uttamadikari. Uttamadikari are those who consider Vaishnav Seva higher than deity worship. And Param Gurudev Sri Srila Bhakti Srirup Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj was one such Uttam Adhikari. He would focus on Vaishnav Seva a lot. He would always engage his disciples also in Vaishnav Seva. And the way he would serve Vaishnavas was very peculiar. He would say that don't invite a lot of Vaishnavas together. If there would be a lot of Vaishnavas collecting together, then it would be a haphazard situation. You would not be able to serve them properly, and this will ultimately end up in Vaishnav aparad. So he would invite few Vaishnavas and he would serve them nicely. Now, next again, he would invite few Vaishnavas and he would serve them. This way, he would serve Vaishnavas very nicely. Once at the time of Rath Yatra, what happened? Um, Special flowers were bought from Kolkata. At the time of Rath Yatra, Param Gurudev was in Jagannath Puri, and special flowers from Kolkata came. The garland were made very nicely for the deities. Srimad Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Govind Dev. Garland were made. And at that time, Srila Bhakti Kumud Sant Goswami Maharaj, along with his associates, came. So Srila Param Gurudev said, okay, take this garland and gave it to Vaishnavas. The Brahmachari said, oh Maharaji, these are the garlands for the deities. If you give it to the Vaishnavas, what will you give to the deities? Doesn't matter. Just give these garlands to Vaishnavas. Vaishnava Hriday Sada Govinda Vishram. If Vaishnavas are decorated with these garlands, then Govind, Shri Krishna, will himself become happy. So such was his conduct of Vaishnav Seva. He would always engage his disciples also in Vaishnav Seva. And another specialty, what I have seen is deity worship is also done very nicely in those 3 and 4 centers of Param Gurudev. Once what happened, Param Gurudev was invited in Tota Gopinath. Our Chitra Mat, it is very close to Tota Gopinath in Jagannath Puri. So the Panda, the priest invited Param Gurudev for a feast. So in the noontime when Param Gurudev went there, he saw very nice preparations are made for Thakurji. There is chutney, then there is sabzi, there is dal, there is saag, then there is fried things and kheer, then there is sweet rasgulla. So different preparations were made for Thakurji. So when Param Gurudev returned back to temple, he said that we will also serve our Thakurji in a similar way. And from then, Param Gurudev ordered it on daily basis that chutney should be there for Thakurji. There should be kheer every day for Thakurji. There should be at least 3 type of sabzis for Thakurji, grains like this. Because he would say that if deity is worshipped very nicely, then Radharani is going to make all the arrangements for Krishna. There would be no scarcity, no fund issues in the temple. Why? Because Lakshmi, she is the potency of Krishna. So Lakshmi, when she will saw that I am being used in the seva of my husband, then there will be no scarcity. So Param Gurudev would focus on deity worship very nicely. Today it's his appearance day. He has his name, Srila Bhakti Sri Rup Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj. His last instructions, there are 31 instructions which he has jotted down before disappearing. And those 31 instructions are very much similar to Rupa Siksha. The teachings of Srimad Mahaprabhu, what Mahaprabhu have given us by Srirupa Goswami, this Rupa Siksha, and the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, of Srila Bhakti Sri Rupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj are also very much similar to Rupa Siksha. And time and again, he would say that at least for just one life, doesn't matter your mind wants it or not, you should engage in Hari Bhajan. You should not leave Hari Bhajan at any cost. Because all of us are unqualified jivas. From so much of birth, we have such a bad samskar that engaging in pure Hari Bhajan in this one life is not possible. But somehow, in the association of sadhus, somehow by performing Dham Parikrama, by engaging in Hari Seva, Vaishnav Seva, you should continue to perform chanting, apply tilak, wear tulsi mala, hear Hari Katha. So this sadhan, for this one life at least, continue this practice. If you just complete this one life, practicing these devotional things, then in the next life, you will develop very nice sanskar. And with that proper sanskar, you would be able to perform true Hari Bhajan. So it's his appearance day. We pray to his lotus feet. We pray to all the Vaishnavas. We pray to Gurudev that may we become qualified enough to follow the instructions that he has given, and let's make our life successful. Okay? Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Then pranam to all the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna.
Very well. Thank you so much, Gaurasundar Prabhu. That was beautiful. I think it's, so incredible to always hear the stories of the Vaishnavas, and we can truly be inspired by the way they, live their lives. And I think the concept is kind of hard to grasp when you think about the way these Vaishnavas live their lives. But I think some of the things that really stood out to me from what you were saying was that every path does not take us to the same destination. And so how lucky are we to be on this path and to have the Vaishnavas like our Guru Maharaj, your Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Maharaj, who've come, and they come to save us. And like you said, they are the direct mercy of Srimad Mahaprabhu. And I always find it so crazy that, regardless of our condition in this world, how fallen we are and how wretched and all of the crazy things that we do day to day. But these Vaishnavas, they're so merciful, and they still come and they still try to save us, and they grab us and they hold on to us so tight, even though we don't want to hold on ourselves. They hold on to us, and like you were saying, the Vaishnavas, they're so strict, and so they'll chastise us when we need chastisement, but also similarly, they're on the opposite end, they are so sweet to us, and they're so affectionate and so loving and so parental, and they just hold on to us even though we don't want to hold on, and we do life the way we do life. But yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing your Harikatha. And
Bishop,
yeah,
Bishop Priya, can I just add, Gaurasundar Prabhu, thank you for coming. I was trying to convince so many different. I was firstly trying to convince Sridhar Maharaj to come and join, and then Sridhar Maharaj, the first thing he said was tell Gaurasundar Prabhu to do it, and I was like, okay, I didn't even hesitate with him saying anything. Because I've heard Gaurasundar Prabhu speak so many times, and you're just wonderful, Prabhuji, and you described your Param Gurudev so nicely, and it's something that we're able to connect with. And once we hear how effulgent our Acharya line is, we can make connection with the whole parampara. So it's not just our Gurudev or our Param Gurudev, it's the whole parampara. They're so effulgent and magnificent. And you described your Param Gurudev Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj so beautifully. So thank you, Gaurasundar Prabhu, for coming and being so kind. Sorry, Vishnu, I just wanted to add that part.
that's all right. No, I'm glad you did, because I actually didn't mention that enough. Yes, Prabhu, you it was a beautiful Harikatha, and you explained everything so beautifully, the storyline. Really, really nice. So thank you, Prabhu.
Cheated. I feel cheated. I didn't know this was happening at this time. There was no information. I knew he was going to speak, but I didn't know.
Look at your phone. You didn't look at your phone. I've been texting you for the last few days, and you haven't been talking to me. I've sent you a dozen messages.
But not the timing.
Yes, I said the timing. Look at your last message this morning.
I don't have my phone here.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really wanted to hear it, because where's Goswami? Why has he not shown his face? Show your face. Don't be shy. Because I've heard Katha from Sripad Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj in Rup Sanatan about his Guru Maharaj. And I've heard it a few times, very sweet, but I didn't get to hear that kind of detail. I heard about his early life history, his time under Bhaktivivek Bharti Maharaj, so many wonderful things. And we've heard from Gurudev, his beautiful relationship and his guidance after the disappearance of Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj. I guess you talked about this. I don't know. I feel, but Did you talk about these things
No,
too?
Maharaji. I did not had time enough to discuss those side of Param Gurudev.
What you talked, what I heard though, was fantastic. I've never been able to hear the details of his writing and commentaries. I've heard it only briefly alluded to. I'm very appreciative of that because I know even our Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj said that some of his writings also he took from the writings and inspiration of your Param Gurudev.
Right.
Yeah,
Our
and
Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaji has translated Vedanta Sutra. It is from he took references from the commentary of Srila Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, and the Gaudiya Giti Kuch, that also he took references from Mahajan Padavali. Srila Param Gurudev Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj wrote it. There are a lot of books that Srila Param Gurudev Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj has written. Bindu, Kiran, Kana, commentary on these three. Then there are Upanishads, 11 Upanishads, where he has written commentary. There is Uddhav Samvad, where he has written commentary. Then there is commentary on Bhagavad Gita, Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhu's and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's book. So the Bhagavad Gita as it is from Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaji, that is a reference from Baldev Vidyabhushan from commentary of Param Gurudev. A lot of it.
I'm going to make one request, suggestion, that a biography be compiled, written biography in English, because, you know, Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj has contributed stories about so many of the God brothers of, or the disciples of Srila Saraswati Prabhupada, you know, those God brothers. And it's so illuminating to understand the culture and the lives of these personalities. Hardly anything is known. And to do something with your Param Gurudev would be really important because his contributions, his actions, everything, they align so beautifully with the lives of Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj, my guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj. It's so important to understand that community and their contributions at that time. And how closely they are in harmony with one another. This story is not understood. And I think, you know, it would be a very good service to your own Gurudev to begin thinking like that. I know he'd be very happy, you know, to have his Guru Maharaj's glories, because, you know, he spoke so fondly about him. Anyway, I won't go on, but consider that.
Sure,
You know,
Maharaji. Please bless me. I'll for sure take this and I'll try to do as per my qualification.
Well, wait a minute. I lived in India a long time, and when people respond like, sure, I will try, that's not much of a commitment. That's kind of like, yeah, okay, you know, all right, yeah, I will try. No, I would request that you bring this up specifically to your Guru Maharaj and say this has been the request. Your Guru Maharaj is very much aligned with my Guru Maharaj. He had great appreciation for Srila Prabhupada and the Western mission, and he was very instrumental in giving shelter and protection to devotees coming into Gurudev Sangha in those early days at Rup Sanat. And he studied the literature of my Guru Maharaj. I think his own Guru Maharaj's contribution should be known in this light. It's not a small request, it's a big request, but I think how long will any of us be here? And once, you know, we're gone, then all of us will be lost. The history of Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Maharaj should not be lost. It should be given and expanded on. Please.
Gaurasanga Prabhu is Sridhar Maharaj here.
He returned from the program, so it was like 5 minutes back. He returned from the program. I have to check if he is available.
Okay.
If I
No worries. If
it would be
he's just
right.
back, he's just
Right.
probably resting. No worries,
Because
no worries.
another
Well, then
I will.
please offer our Dandavat pranams to him.
sure, Maharaj.
Specifically.
I'll
He
pass
also
him.
visited Bangalore many times when I was there and was so broad-minded and generous in his spirit and his contributions there, giving, you know, Harikatha, Bhagavad Saptaha. And he did something very unusual. He would collect a lot of money at these Bhagavad Saptahas They would start small, and day after day, they would grow and grow and grow because people would hear of this katha. And by the end, even a big hall would be packed. And he would collect a pretty good amount of rupees, but he would always give most of it to the temple. You know, he had no attachment to that at all. It was very unusual. You know, he's very special, very kind, very broad-hearted devotee. So I have, and he was very kind to me when I came to the institution after, you know, giving up everything in my outside life. He was very kind, very helpful. So yeah, we have great debt to him.
I'll pass your message to Shri Gurudev.
Thank you. Thank you.
Lovely. Okay. Thank you very much, Gosvami Prabhu. Lovely. Okay, so we're now actually going to start on our little journey, our parikram through Vrindavan. Today, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vikanas Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Chidandi Maharaj, they're going to be taking us to Dauji, Brahmanda-ghata, Mahavana-Gokula, Raval, and Lohavana. So I'm going to pass it over to Vikanas Maharaj to start with, I believe so.
I just saw this note yesterday. And it was given in Indian time. That's not very helpful, you know. It makes it really difficult. I'm lame and blind, and, you know, how can I deal with all this? Anyway, bye.
Marge, we've got recording, so I'll share
That's
it
true. I
with
can watch it on YouTube. You're right. You're right. Yesterday, I watched a great deal on YouTube because we were so busy during the day. It was really marvelous yesterday. I wish it could have gone on and on and on.
Me too.
Anyway, so Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshulmilitanjena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantam Anupeta Apeta Krityam Rapayano Virhakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tan Maitaya Taravo Benedus Tam Savabhutam Hidayam Munimanatusmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshay Kiptascha Kamari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitram Sharanam Papana Brinde Namaste Charanada Vindam Tavevasmi Najivami Tvayavina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So we begin by offering our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved Gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asta Tarasat Sri Srimad Abhaya Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and unto Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pad Asta Tarsat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and unto our exalted Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and today especially to the lotus feet of the godbrother of my Guru Maharaj, Sri Bhakti Srirupa Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, on his appearance day. I remember in Vrindavan, we would honor the disappearance day of Srila Trivikram Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, then the disappearance day of our Srila Prabhupada, and then the next day was the appearance day of Sri Rupa Siddhanti Maharaj. But by that time, the parikram had to go on, and there was not really so much opportunity to hear the Harikatha. And also our Rasananda Prabhu, who is now Bhakti Vedanta Sridhar Maharaj, was the only disciple, so we really never got much. And he would try to do something in the morning. He would get something special for breakfast, generally ice cream or something, right? Sometimes more. But he was just, he had no money, brahmachari. He was the Mahant, he was in charge of the Mat at Srirupa Sanatan Gaudiya Mat, but he had no independent funds. But he would always make effort to offer something nice for his guru. But we did get to hear from him on the disappearance day and other days when there was opportunity when we were staying at his mat over the winter. Very sweet katha. If we weren't doing this parikram right now, I would tell a bunch of stories because he's kind of famous. For he really embodied that lion-like mood and uncompromising mood of preaching fiercely and defiantly in the face of Siddhanti, Mayavad, all of that. Very glorious, even as a brahmachari. Anyway, today, two places I'm responsible to speak of. I have to rush because a little over time. First one is Dauji, and we would go there early morning on the bus, and it's quite a beautiful complex. Very, very large courtyard, all paved, residences there, large kunda in the middle, and off to one side, beautiful temple, right? And this is look at that entrance. And this temple of Lord Baladev, Dauji, look at that. There may be a picture of that deity. He was one of the original deities installed by the great-grandson of Krishna, Brajanab. But of course, during the time, especially the time of Aurangzeb, he was entering Vrindavan and Mathura and destroying all the temples, all the deities. That would be Revati, that's his wife, that he married in, that's Revati, yeah. That he married in Dwarka. And so they have her not directly next to him because he didn't marry when he was in Vrindavan, obviously, but they brought her there. And she's off to one side. You can't see her by looking into the temple directly, but there's a window on the side you can go and look. And so this deity was lost for some time. Where did he go? Apparently the pujaris, they hid him in the kund. Some of the deities were taken out of Vrindavan, right? Madan Mohan, Govindaji, Gopinath, others, Damodar, were taken out. But this deity was hidden in the kund. And then after all of these atrocities were complete, were over, after some time, he was rediscovered, lying in that kund, waiting, and brought out, and a very nice temple built. And generally when we go there, we spend time speaking about the tattva of Baladev, the tattva of Nityananda Prabhu, so much which you can read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We don't have time for that because we could speak on that tattva for hours and hours. But just to understand that Baladev is the first expansion of Krishna, right? But expansion in a special way. Although he's identical in every way, except, Srila Prabhupada say, except that he's white and Krishna's black. They look so much alike, but he has a slightly different abhiman, self-conception. He is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, he is the source of the first Chaturvyuha, the expansions which manifest in Mathura and then in Dwarka, Vasudev Krishna, Sankarshan Baladev, Pradumna and Aniruddha, as they manifested as son and grandsons of Krishna. And then from them, that Sankarshan, that Baladev, the second Chaturvyuha, which exists in the Vaikuntha realm, which is the source of all of the expansions, Vishnu expansions in the Vaikuntha planets, and from whom come the three Purusha avatars, right? Mahavishnu, Karanadakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, entering into every universe, as the super soul of every universe, and then the Kshirodakshai Vishnu within every universe, that Paramatma form that is within the heart of every living entity and every atom. This is all coming from Baladev, right? But in Vrindavan, his conception, and this is the origin of that's contained in the conception of all of the Vishnu forms, as well as all of the living entities that are created by Lord Balaram and his expansions, the mood of servitorship to Krishna. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he also considers himself a servant of his brother Krishna, his younger brother, right? In this lifetime, he determined, I'm going to appear as the older brother, because in Ram Leela, he appeared as Lakshman, the younger brother, and he had to do things under the order of Lord Ram that he did not like to do, like taking Sita away to the ashram of Valmiki, thinking that next life when we appear, I'm going to be the older brother, so I don't have to take orders if I don't want. So he has the mood of servitorship. He also has the mood of friendship and equality, and he also has the mood of parental affection and protector of his brother. And there's unlimited leelas based on these different moods. But he's also the Lord, the predominating deity of Sandhini Shakti, which is the existence potency. In other words, everything that exists rests upon that energy. So the entire Dham, all the Vaikuntha planets, he is the source of the forms of all the living beings in Vrindavan. Even Krishna and himself, their forms come from Sandhini Shakti, right? It's Shakti, but he's the deity, he's the Lord of that Shakti. Anyway, this is very complicated. So we speak for maybe an hour of all of this. And as I said, we could speak for days, but we're going to move on from here, offering, and Dauji here is black. There are some forms of Lord Balaram throughout Vrindavan that are black. And this is quite remarkable. This form of Balaram established by Bhajanab that's black, recognizing this very confidential idea that in great separation, that Baladev, so meditating on his own brother, will take on the complexion of his brother. He's so absorbed in thought as if he becomes one with him, which Tridani Maharaj also spoke about when he came back to console the inhabitants of Vrindavan. He also became blackish at one time while consoling and consorting with the gopis to relieve their separation. So absorbed in his brother, in the mood of service, it's as if he became one with him, that blackish complexion. First time I ever heard that was in Mathura, 97, when we went to another Dauji temple and he's black there. And I said, what? How's Baladev black? And Uma Didi was standing there. I didn't know her at that time. I got the hint that she was, confidential associate. And she just turned to me and said, separation. I thought, oh, okay. So then we go to our next place, which Brahmanda-ghata, right? And when we go there, the very beautiful ghat there, and there is a place in the Jamuna where you can actually take bath. In some places, the contributions to the Jamuna from the towns and villages become so much that Gurudeva warned us not to bathe in the water. But here you can bathe. There's even a film, I believe, of Srila Prabhupada, my guru, bathing at that place. Some very sweet pastimes. Usually when we went there with a crowd, though, it'd be very difficult to give Harikatha because it would be so loud, so many pilgrims. We didn't have it exclusively to ourselves. So many people would be there talking and chattering, impossible to talk. So they'd always have me talk there because no one else wanted to do it. And they said, you have a loud voice. You just speak there. So I would talk there as loudly as I could. And there, one time I remember I just lost it. I couldn't even hear myself talk. Oh! Anyway, two pastimes in particular in this place. You can see some pictures of it, also very beautiful. One which I'll describe very briefly, is where Krishna's off to one side and his friends are laughing and pointing at him. And he's wondering what they're doing. And then they begin to tease him and say, oh, Nanda Maharaj and Jashoda are not your real parents. And he said, what? I couldn't believe that. And this is very human-like pastime, because children will oftentimes pick one person out to tease them, right? It can be very painful. And so it looks like that, right? But we're going to learn, and when we describe the next pastime, that what is this doing? Krishna becomes very distraught. She's not my mother? How can you say that? And they say, oh, because Nanda Maharaj is a very fair complexion. Your mother also, and you are quite blackish. How could you have come from them? They found you in a tree. Nanda Maharaj found you in a tree, and he brought you home, and they raised you, but you're not their real son. This disturbed Krishna so much. He went running from the group and running home. And there in the courtyard, he was just crying and crying. Mother Jashoda tried to console him and pick him up, but he is resistant. Finally, she said, what's wrong? What's wrong? And then he said what had happened. They say you're not my son. Who said? Dam, Sri Dam, Dalbaya, even my brother has said that. And she said, how could they say that? And hearing even from his own brother, he thought, oh, it must be true. And then this is so sweet. And if you hear Gurudev describe it, your heart melts. She says, she takes her little boy in her arms and, she presses her hand to his forehead and says, my dear son, I take a vow to Lord Narayan directly that you are my son. You are my son. And Gurudev also says that it's true that Mother Jashoda, it's not that she's fair complexioned. She's dark complexioned, not as dark as Krishna, right? But all Krishna's qualities of beauty and effulgence and kindness and compassion and cleverness has come from his mother, right? She's the repository of all wonderful qualities. And her love is so strong. And so what this pastime, Krishna's anxiety here is exciting his own Vatsalya Prem. It allows him to taste it in a special way because his mother responding, what? I am your mother. And she vows, I say 3 times, you are my son, you are my son, you are my son. Each time with increasing mood of motherly affection, overwhelming him and consoling him and embracing him and enfolding him in her love and compassion. Right? So pastimes like this, it's said that in Krishna's 3 phases of life in Vrindavan, in his younger years, Vatsalya Prem is prominent. Then as he grows a bit older, then this Sakya-ras comes up and begins to compete. And then later, the sweetness of Shringar-ras becomes manifest. Right? So then another day, right, Krishna's playmates go to complain to Mother Jashoda, right? And I'm going to follow the Srimad Bhagavatam with the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. I read Ananda Vrindavan Champu, Gopal Champu. I read Srila Prabhupada's commentary on it. And they all have speciality to them, right? Sometimes their descriptions, they emphasize something a little bit differently. But basically, what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, everything is in it. And our Srila Narayan Maharaj, he favored Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, even over Jiva Goswami. He told one of my god sisters one time, Vrindavan Vilasini, I was telling her about Gopal Champu and how much I was enjoying it. And she said, yeah, she was talking to Srila Gurudev about it. And Gurudev always had a lot of special affection for her. And he said, oh, yes, yes. But one day, he says, I favor Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. One day you'll have to give up even Jiva Goswami and follow Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Rasik Shiromani, right, considered to be the incarnation if not direct, certainly avesh, empowered of Rupa Goswami. So all the confidential moods and flavor of Rupa Goswami are in his commentaries, which Gurudev relished, and which my Guru Maharaj also commented on very frequently in his Bhagavatam commentary. But reading his, you see how he's taking it and making it somewhat comprehensible to the uneducated reader reading for the first time, right? Taking and if you go deeply and look deeply at what he's saying, oh, then you see, oh, there's Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So they complained that Krishna was eating dirt, right? And so he begins by saying, oh, I missed one beginning. Just let me back up a little bit. One day while Krishna was playing with his small playmates, including Balaram and sons of other gopis, all his friends came together and lodged a complaint to Mother Jashoda. Mother, they submitted, Krishna has eaten dirt. Okay. And so he begins by explaining that this Vatsalya Ras, that we just heard about the gopis complaining to Mother Jashoda about Krishna stealing their yogurt and butter. She didn't punish him then. They were just talking like this to taste the Vatsalya Ras. And then this verse is the taste of Vismaya Ras, or Adbhuta, astonishment, right? It's going to create this Gona Ras. There's, the five stave bhavs, but 7 secondary rasas. This is astonishment, and this will take over and predominate and result in so many moods that ultimately excite the Vatsalya to such an extent. You're going to see all these transformations. So Mother Jashoda is immediately in anxiety, right, over Krishna's welfare. She picks Krishna up with her hands to look into his mouth and chastise him. Her eyes are fearful, right? Why would her eyes be fearful? Because what? No one wants their son to eat dirt, right? Yeah, they always want to protect their son. And Krishna's eyes were also filled with fear. But it's an ornament caused by prem. It's not a fault. He's fearful and he's going to lie. But this is only going to increase the conception of love between a mother and her son, like an ordinary son. So she says, Dear Krishna, why are you so restless that you've eaten dirt in a solitary place? All your friends, all your playmates have said this, even your brother. How is this? Right? And so Vishwanath Chakravarti expands on this by saying, Mother Jashoda said, don't you get enough food in my house? Remember, she's just heard the complaints of the other gopis, and now he's eating dirt. Why are you doing this? I'm not nourishing sufficiently, right? This is her first thought, right? And why would Krishna eat dirt? Another place it's hinted that the land of Vrindavan is so glorious and worshipped. Devotees roll in the dust. In fact, I heard this from our Srila Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj at Rup Sanatan, that he was taking this dirt thinking that all my devotees, they worship this land as so sacred. They roll in the dust, they even take it and they eat it themselves. I want to taste the beauty of Vrindavan. I want to taste the beauty of their love. So he's eating the dirt for that purpose, right? But now he's lying. My dear mother, I've never eaten dirt. All my friends complaining against me are liars. If you think they're being truthful, you can directly look into my mouth. So this lying, this is now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur brings up this idea that it actually nourishes Vatsalya Bhav, because a child will lie for fear of being beaten or being punished. They'll immediately lie, right? And this confirms that he's just a child. He's lying. He's fearful. It increases the conception of Narvat Leela, right? So she's going to see that. He says, Vatsalya and other rasas spring from prem, and prem rests within the devotee's heart. It arises in the devotee because of Krishna's inherent affection for his devotees, right? The Lord has a quality of bhakta vatsalya. And he says it's greater than any of his other qualities, purity, mercy, truthfulness. So his lying, it springs from this idea of affection for devotees because he's reaffirming and reinforcing that relationship based on mother and child, right? It's everything then can be seen through the eyes of that, right? Nourishing prem. All the pastimes nourish prem. So his mother challenges him. Okay, if you've not eaten dirt or earth, then open your mouth wide, right? And so he says that challenge in this way, Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, to exhibit pastimes like a human child, opened his mouth. Right? Another place described that he says, well, then open my mouth. But he was a little fearful because he knew he still had some crumbs of dirt in his mouth. And now he's very afraid of being caught. So the verse goes on, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is full of all opulences, did not disturb his mother's parental affection, his opulence was automatically displayed, for Krishna's opulence is never lost at any stage, but is manifest at the proper time. So this is really important now, because we know that in Vrindavan, even though we've heard this over and over, even though there is unlimited opulence, unlimited Aishwarya, it's generally submerged under the covering and the influence of Madhurya. That even when they see extraordinary things going on and being performed by Krishna, the mood that he's our friend, he's our child, he's our beloved is never disturbed, right? But just as we were hearing about when he was bound by the ropes of his mother, his Aishwarya potency came to the fore to protect him, because at that time he did not want to be bound. So here, he doesn't want to be discovered, to be eaten dirt, and be punished. So independently, it's described that his Aishwarya Shakti comes to the fore, right? This is described that Krishna's qualities are unimpeded and non-contradictory. So he can have Aishwarya and sweetness at the same time, and sometimes one can predominate over the other. It says his power is never conquered. He doesn't display this power because of the influence of sweetness of love. But looking for service, this Aishwarya will find some opportunity, inspired by the boy's power of Satya Sankalpa, one whose every desire must be fulfilled. So Krishna, he's the son of Mother Yashoda, but he doesn't want to be punished. So Aishwarya sneaks in there and becomes temporarily dominant, right? Or temporarily manifesting, showing itself clearly. Unimpeded Aishwarya on its own manifested the universal form that she's going to see. And Yashoda's lost in astonishment. And she forgets to scold her son. So he asks a question. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur would do this. He would pose questions, argument. Was it necessary for Krishna to taste the sweetness of prem and thus have to show fear of being beaten? He could have just stood there without fear, taking the help of his Aishwarya Shakti, thinking, I am the Lord. But he reveals in the words of the verse of Shukadeva Goswami, Krita Pradana Manuja Balaka. It means that Krishna specifically took the form of a human child to perform many playful, sweet pastimes, right? So both. When Krishna opened his mouth wide by the order of Mother Yashoda, now listen to this, she saw within his mouth, it's going to be described, he opened the mouth, but actually saw within his belly all moving and non-moving entities, outer space, all directions, along with mountains, islands, oceans, the surface of the earth, the blowing wind, fire, the moon, and the stars. She saw the planetary systems, water, light, air, sky, and creation, by transformation of ahankara. In other words, the evolution of the universe from from subtle to gross. All the elements, everything, seeing in a very extraordinary way. She also saw the senses, the mind, sense perception, the three qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance, right? She saw the time allotted for the living entities. She saw natural instinct and the reactions of karma. And she saw desires and different varieties of bodies, moving and non-moving, seeing all these aspects of the cosmic manifestation. Along with herself and Vrindavan Dham, she became doubtful and fearful of her son's nature. So, fairly long purport, but just to pick out a couple points, he points out that how do we conceive of seeing these different things, many of which are not directly manifest or perceivable with the senses? In that case, she saw the predominating deities of these forces and these different things, right? Because behind everything in creation is the quality of consciousness and conscious guidance and personality, right? So she saw all of that. And the last thing he says, now seeing all that, she begins to become worried. Mother Jashoda began to argue within herself, is this a dream? Or is it an illusory creation by the external energy? Has this been manifested by my own intelligence? Is it some mystic power of my child? In other, Gopal Champu and Anna Vrindavan Champu, sometimes she's thinking, oh, is it from the demigods? Whose Maya is this? But now she's wondering, where has this come from? Including, is this from my son? Because after all, Gargamuni has said he will have qualities like Narayan, right? And then she begins to think like a jnani. This is a really interesting part. Now, this is going to be really important, right? Therefore, let me surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offer my obeisance unto him, who is beyond the conception of human speculation, the mind, activities, words, and arguments, who is the original cause of this cosmic manifestation, by whom the entire cosmos is maintained, and by whom we can conceive of its existence. Let me simply offer my obeisance, for he is beyond my contemplation, speculation, and meditation. He's beyond all material activities. So she can't figure this out, and she just begins to pray to God. And then it is by the influence of the Supreme Lord's Maya, this is where this Gyan now takes charge. We were hearing the other day from Chaitanya Maharaj about a Jnani Bhakta. Great devotee, but they know about the Lord and they know philosophically about, Maya Shakti, Chit Shakti, the relationship between the living entity about God, all these things. So now she's thinking, it's by the influence of my Supreme Lord's Maya that I am wrongly thinking that Nanda Maharaj is my husband and that Krishna is my son, and that because I am the queen of Nanda Maharaj, all the wealth and cows are my possessions, and all the cowherd men and their wives are my subjects. Actually, I also am eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. He is my ultimate shelter. So here's where it comes. Now, this is stimulated an idea like a jnani. Oh, all this is temporary. I'm not the wife of Nanda. I'm not the mother of Krishna. None of this. I'm an eternal spirit soul. I'm a devotee of Lord Narayan. This is all temporary. Their Naravat Leela is so strong, they think themselves ordinary living beings within the universe. But now that thought is being covered over by the idea, oh yes, I thought Krishna's my ordinary son, but he's not. We're all devotees of God, and we have some higher identity and destination. And this is going to go through her heart temporarily, right? But it's a temporary manifestation, transformation. And then Mother Jashoda, by the grace of the Lord, could understand the real truth. But then again, the Supreme Master, by the influence of the internal potency, Yogamaya inspired her to become absorbed in intense maternal affection for her son. The word is putra sneha mayim, right? This natural affection, sneha for her putra, bewildered by that affection, her Vatsalya prema was so powerful that it overcame that jnanic influence. Because why? Because Jashoda, she's thinking, I want to give up all this sense of possessiveness, but then Krishna all of a sudden realizes, oh, now she's thinking that. My Maya has showed her this. Now she's becoming a jnani. Who will cuddle me? Who will hold me? Who will give me her breast milk? And then that desire of his and her natural relationship again became prominent. The other thing was just a little ripple, which again served to increase the bond of Vatsalya between them. So then she forgot everything about this Yogamaya illusion, shook her head, took Krishna in her lap, and felt even more affection for her child. It was like a dream, described like a dream for her, right? That, like when we have a strong dream, in the midst of it, we might become so overwhelmed by it. But as soon as we wake up, it just disappears as if it had never been there. And then this verse, just two more verses, and then we'll have to stop. The glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are studied through the three Vedas, the Upanishads, the literature of Sankhya Yoga, and other Vaishnava literature. Yet Mother Jashoda considered that Supreme Personality of Godhead as her own son. And then this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this is a Paribhas Sutra of Krishna Lila. In other words, even though all of the Vedas describe Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, possessor of all potency, understood in so many different ways as Bhagavan, Paramatma, Brahman, so many incredible ways in which it's the Lord is understood, his creation, his energies, the relationship between all of it. It said, but Mother Jashoda considered the Supreme Person as her ordinary child. One should take this verse as a Paribhas Sutra of Krishna Lila. As a lamp sits in one place in a dark room and lights up the whole room, so this statement in the scriptures, which can reveal the meaning of all scriptures or regulate the meaning of the scriptures, is called Paribhas Sutra. So this verse stands as a regulator for all the pastimes related to Aishvarya, when Krishna displays his opulence and power, shown during Krishna's Kumara and Kaishora age. In other words, right here, and then later in the that way we understand the Damodar Lila, that even though Krishna will show incredible opulence, and what more could be than seeing that universal form in his belly, her Vatsalya Prem, and the Prem of all the devotees in Braj, overcomes that. And they're never disturbed by that. They may have a temporary doubt, like the cowherd men after Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, right? But it's just like a brief ripple. And then Parikshit Maharaj asked some questions. There's a comparison to the love of Vasudeva and Devaki, but Mother Jashoda's love, which is demonstrated here in this extraordinary way, this will serve as the foundation for understanding everything from now on. Right? His human-like pastimes, even though they can be sometimes so extraordinary, they're always governed and regulated by sweetness and by intimate prem, as friend, as parent, and as beloved. Never disturbed by the idea that Krishna is God. Okay, so we'll stop here. Sridhar Maharaj told me to speak for 30 minutes, and I did. Started a little late. That's why this is a little late. I did it. Joy, I'm a good boy.
Beautiful, Maharaj. Beautiful. 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 Ecstatic.
Anyway, yeah.
Ecstatic.
I want the other days to go on. I want this Prabhupada day, I want this Srirupa Siddhanti day. I want Vaman Raj and Raj. I wish we could do this all the time. Anyway, thank you very much. All glories to the Prabhupada, all glories to the Gurudev, all glories to Bhakti Srirupa, Siddhanti Goswami Maharaj, all glories to this humble devotees. Gaur Premanande, Haribol.
Jai, thank you so much, Maharaj. I think we're going to move on to the final 3 destinations that we're going to be traveling to today. So we have Mahavana-Gokula, Raval, and Lohavana, which Srila Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj is going to speak us through now. So I'll pass it over to you, Maharaji.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
I see this picture of this Indu Rekha and her husband. Are they from Holland?
Yeah.
I met them years and years ago. And children, probably all grown now. Really sweet little boy, sweet little girl. She was teaching me Dutch with a little picture book. Yeah. Anyway, I just want to say that. Sorry.
Nice, Maharaj. Okay.
Haribol.
Dandavats, Maharaj. Wonderful guitar. Wonderful guitar. But you should communicate more with me. I sent you 2 days in a row. You can look on your phone. Yesterday and today, the timing.
Well, I just want to say this is not like
You've been busy. I know. But still, we should communicate more.
I'm trying,
Okay, no problem, Maharaj. You've done it good. You've done it well. All right.
I mean, we've been so busy the last many days, cooked, we're like Sevaks here, we got like 3 of us, and we got massive altar and deities and cooking and cleaning and Tulsi and all these things, shopping, and then preparing for this to hold it up to your standard. Not easy, So it takes a lot of time. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just kind of glanced over it. Oh, I got to talk about this. Yeah, I missed the schedule. I see it.
No problem, Maharaj.
Yeah.
No problem.
Mea culpa. Mea culpa.
Thank you, Maharaj. Jai Shila Gurudev, Jai Shila Prabhupada. Gurave Gaura Chandraya, Radhikaya Tadalaye, Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya, Tara Bhaktaya, Namo Namaha. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astok Tarasara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm also offering my Sastang Dandavats unto the lotus feet of our most beloved Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Astok Tarasara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all our divine Rupanuga Guru Varg, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, and especially today on the appearance day of Srirupa Siddhanti Maharaj, I'm offering my prostrated Dandavat pranams unto him as well. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. So today, if we were camping in Giridhari Gaudiya Math, as we traditionally did so many years ago, we would have crossed over the Jamuna today. Today is a big day for the bus, where we cross over and we go to Dauji and Brahmanda-ghata, which we've just heard beautifully described by Sripad Vaikanas Maharaj. Sripad Vaikanas Maharaj would always describe it there, and what he said was true. He would shout very loudly. Even sometimes the yatris would all be sitting down, taking prasadam, and he would stand very much animated, waving his arms around, telling the pastime, relentless, even though it seemed like nobody was listening, but still he would shout these pastimes every year. It was very beautiful to be there with him. So the geography, again, because I always feel that the devotees should orientate themselves to the position. So we can see where Govardhan is on this map. If you put your cursor on, yes, this is Govardhan. Now we've traveled across the Jamuna, move the cursor to across Jamuna, and we've come into this realm in the southeastern corner. So we're in essentially, it's Baladev country. We describe there are 5 forests on this side of the Jamuna. Bhadravan, Bandiravan, Bailvan, then Lohavan and Mahavan down the bottom. So this is Mahavan, where we've come. You see, Mahavan is on the bottom there. So this is the fixed geography. We're going to be here every year, so we might as well learn it. It's not a big deal, but these are the forests that we should familiarize ourselves with, and of course appreciate all the different leelas and pastimes that go on in the forest. And then it's as if the sense of Braj becomes so much more alive. So if we go back to that other map for a minute, and we can see here, if you highlight, you can bring up Mahavan in the bottom. You can expand it. You can expand Mahavan in the bottom. Yes, expand more. Now, yes, come across. Can you see on your screen? You see Gokul. And Mahavan is the forest. And Gokul is the village within Mahavan. And Brahmanda-ghata is just a ghat, or it was a ghat previously 5,000 years ago. But now it's become something of a village because so many pilgrims stop there. So we've come to Brahmanda-ghata, and we passed Dauji, is further up, is higher, and we've come to Brahmanda-ghata, and then we're going to go across to Gokul, and we're going to come into this area of Gokul here. You can see there is Gokul. So this is the area that we're in today. And we should appreciate that previously, Parajanya, who's the grandfather of Krishna, Parajanya's father is Deva Maida. I've described this before, but I'll describe it again to make it more familiar with everybody. Deva Maida is Krishna's great-grandfather. Deva Maida has 2 sons. He has Parajanya, and he has Surya Sen from 2 different wives, the Kshatriya wife and the Gopa wife. So from the Kshatriya wife is Surya Sen, and from Surya Sen comes his son, who is Vasudeva. And Vasudeva, we described the other day in connection with Uddhava. Vasudeva has 9 brothers. And one of those brothers is called Devabhag. And his son is called Uddhava. So Uddhava is the cousin brother of Krishna, who's the son of Vasudeva. So that's on the Kshatriya side. So now we come onto the Gopa side, and from his Gopi wife, comes Parajanya. Parajanya actually means a cloud of mercy, a cloud of benevolence. This is the mood of Parajanya. He's described in the Radha Rasa Sudani, Radha Krishna Ganadesh Deepika, that his complexion, his beard is very white, and he's a very beautifully sage type of person. So he has 5 sons. The eldest is Abhinanda, then Upananda, then Nanda, then Sunanda, then Nandananda. 5 sons and 2 daughters, Sunandini and what's the other one name? Nandini and Sunandini, I think it is. Yeah, 2 daughters. So these 5 sons, and then Upananda and Abhinanda, they marry, etc., and have children. And Sunanda and Nanda, they also marry and have children. But Nanda, he marries Yashoda, but doesn't have any offspring. So Parajanya, he performs many austerities for the sake of his middle son, Nanda, to have a great son. And he performs that tapasya to Lord Narayan, his shalagram. And he hears an aerial voice proclaiming that the son of Nanda will be a great, very brave personality who will kill many demons. So at this time, historically, Parajanya, he's residing in Nandagaon. This is their traditional palace in Nandagan. But due to fear of the Keshi demon at that time, this is like a long time before we hear the pastime of Keshi demon, that Keshi demon has been harassing the citizens, the people, the countryside all over. So due to fear of Keshi demon, Parjanya suggests that they all shift and they move across the river into Gokul. So all the inhabitants of Nandagan and simultaneously their dearest friend of Nanda Baba, who is Vrishabhanu Maharaj. He also wants to accompany Nanda Baba. So these two personalities, they both gather their families and they have their huge wagons and carts and they begin to move across the Jamuna. This is very beautifully described in Ananda Vrindavan Champu. Sripad Vaikanas Maharaj began to describe it the other day. These carriages, these carts are almost like houses on wheels. They're huge. And whole families would travel in them, very ornate, very beautiful. So they traveled across to the land of Gokul. And there was also the traditional place of his original palace previously was already there. A very beautiful palace was in Gokul, which is described as having 84 pillars. Beautiful palace with ornate pillars, etc. So they moved back from Nandagan to Gokul before Krishna was born. So Yogamaya is setting the stage here for Krishna's pastimes. So now Krishna is in Gokul, and it's from Gokul that Krishna is born from the womb of Mother Yashoda. He's manifested from the womb of Devaki in Mathura. This is not like a regular birth, cutting the umbilical cord, etc. But in Gokul, the umbilical cord was there. It was seen. Actually, Jiva Goswami describes practically there was no umbilical cord. There was just like a beautiful lotus in place of Krishna's umbilical cord at that time. But still, they saw the full moment that Krishna was born from Mother Yashoda. Two were born, twins. There was Ekanamsi and Krishna. Both were born, his sister. So then this birth, it takes place. We're celebrating the birthplace today of Gokul. It's very interesting, just to recap for people who have been there before and those who haven't. We come into this, after this long journey on a bus, we come into this very spacious car park with our buses. And then we walk up many, many steps because Gokul is on a hill. It's on a tila. It's situated like Nandagan is also on a hill. So Gokul is on a hill. So we walk up yes, this is the entrance to Gokul. We come up the steps. We've come from behind this picture. This picture is shown the devotees coming into the courtyard of Gokul, the courtyard of Nanda Baba. And we've just walked up many steps to reach this place. On the way up the steps, by the way, in case we forget on the way, on our right, there's the gufa or the cave of Sanatan Goswami. We can visit Sanatan Goswami's place of bhajan, his kutia, which was under the ground because the temperatures are very high here in summertime. So they would take refuge under the ground, just as they're very cold in winter. It would be warm, and in summer it would be cool. So we enter into this courtyard of Nanda Baba in Gokul, and we see this some remnant of the original palace, of the pillars. There was 84 pillars here, very ornate pillars, elaborate. It's described at one point, Krishna actually sees his reflection in the pillar here, and he thinks this is the most beautiful person I've ever seen in my life. This is, practically speaking, yes, we see the pillars here. So this is heralding the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Krishna sees his reflection in the pillar, he becomes totally enamored. He's never seen anyone more beautiful in his life. And then he goes to offer that person, that little boy, a sweet, and that boy is offering him a sweet back. Krishna becomes overwhelmed in affection for this boy. He's totally blown away by his own beauty. And he wants to embrace that beauty, but then he hears the elder gopis giggling behind him. And then somehow he realizes this is just my own reflection. But this is part of the reason for him adventing as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he can taste the sweetness of his own form in the form or in the bhav and kanti of Sri Radhika. As Sri Radhika tastes his form, he also wants to taste that form in a similar way. So he becomes Mahaprabhu from seeing his reflection in the pillars here. So this is the temple that we were just looking at there. And then in this, when Krishna takes his birth, it's described, so many pastimes take place here. Very wonderful, but it's the Balya Leela. It's the Leela of Krishna as a child, a small child. So when Krishna is only 3 days old, it's described, after Krishna's birth, Nanda Baba decides that it's time to make his connection with Kamsa in Mathura, just to keep any trouble away from his newborn son, or to keep everything diplomatically smooth between him and Nanda and Kamsa. So he goes to pay his tribute of milk sweets and ghee, etc. With the Sakas. They go all the way to Mathura to deliver that tax to Kamsa. And in that time that they're away, this Putana is the first demon that Krishna is going to kill when he's only 3 days old. So this is certainly not what we describe as Nara Leela. So Sripad Vaikanas Maharaj has been explaining very clearly this distinction between the Aishwarya and the Madhurya. So now we're going to have it demonstrated in the first 3 days of Krishna's life. So Putana is one of the biggest demons. Out of all the demons that Krishna defeats, Putana is the biggest. Kamsa could not defeat Putana. He defeated all the other demons, Kamsa. He defeated Keshi, he defeated Aristasura, he defeated Agasura, he defeated Bakasura, all of the demons. He defeated Srinavrata, etc. were all in Kamsa's pocket, but he couldn't defeat Putana. Putana was a massive demon, 12 miles high, ultimately she's being described as, and Kamsa couldn't defeat her. So she disguises herself as a most beautiful heavenly damsel, and she enters the village. She knows that the cowherd Gopas have gone to Mathura to deliver their tax. So there's not so many guards that would normally have been there. They've actually accompanied Nanda Baba. She's afraid, it's described by Jiva Goswami in his Gopal Shampu, that she knows that some of these guards have these Narayan astras that would hurt her. So she disguises herself as a beautiful maiden, and she comes very fearlessly, boldly, right into the courtyard of Mother Yashoda and Rohini, who are with Baladev and Krishna. And she just looks so beautiful and effulgent. It describes all the cowherd men that are there. They think that she's come from Swaga. They're convinced. Or even Lakshmi Devi herself. So when Mother Yashoda sees her, she's feeling great honor towards her. And Putana puts her arms out to take Krishna. So in Vedic culture, the child is passed around to many mothers. It's just natural in the Vedic culture that the child will be passed to many mothers. So Yashoda is ready to give her child, and Putana takes that child. But of course, Putana is a witch, and she's disguised herself. She's put poison on her breast. And Krishna, he takes that breast with his 2 hands, and he begins to suck the milk out of that breast. There is a little milk in that breast, and he tastes that. But then he starts to suck her very life air out of her body. And then she's screaming, let go, let go, let go. And she can't pull Krishna off her breast. We should understand that Putana is endowed with the strength of 10,000 elephants. 10,000 elephants. Mother Yashoda easily pulls Krishna off his breast, off her breast, when he wants to stay taking the milk. Krishna's holding on with his feet and his hands and his lips, but Mother Yashoda easily pulls him off. But Krishna here is just holding on casually, and Putana can't pull him off. So she runs outside in desperation because she feels her life air is slipping away. And then she resumes her normal 12-mile high, 12 miles high form. And Krishna is hanging onto the nipple of her breast. And then she takes 2 strides, that's 24 kilometers, out of Gokul, and she crashes on a beautiful orchard of fruits that actually belong to Kamsa. So she's even killing people in her death throes, so to speak. But meanwhile, Krishna, he's not harmed slightly. As she falls, she turns around, she falls on her back. Krishna deliberately stays onto her breast because he knows Mother Yashoda is going to become frantic. Actually, Mother Yashoda, when this starts to happen and unfold, she completely passes out. Krishna's only been born for 3 days, and already this ferocious demon is attacking her darling son. And the gopis, they run, all of them. Thousands of gopis run. They follow the body of Putana, and they see Krishna sitting on the breast on the hill, because at 12 miles high, the breast has become like a hill, and Krishna's there holding onto the nipple. So he's there deliberately so the gopis will quickly see him, because he knows the trauma that his mother is going to be experiencing. And then it's described that the gopis, they form a chain, and then they pass Krishna back very, very quickly to Mother Yashoda. And then Mother Yashoda has fainted in the courtyard of Gokul where we are sitting. And they place Krishna back in her lap. And somehow or other, they manage to revive Mother Yashoda. And immediately she's aware of Krishna on her lap. And then she suckles him with her breast milk. So this is Putana. When Nanda Baba returns, of course, he's just horrified. He thinks he's in a different country. He's seeing this form of Putana stretched across the roadway, stretched across the land. He can't understand. He can't figure out where do these new mountains come from. And then in consultation with the other gopis, they realize this is a huge mega demon. And then with the help of Upananda, because he's there at that time, it's described, they chop the body of Putana up and they burn her. And the fragrance from that fire, it filters through all the environment. It goes for 12, 20 miles around. Krishna wants to proclaim his victory of purifying, killing this demon. So, of course, when everyone's smelling the fragrance of the aguru, it's described, beautiful fragrance, because Putana was touched by Krishna's lips. So this is purifying her whole body. So when she's burnt, that fragrance spreads everywhere. So Krishna is proclaiming to the whole province, 20 kilometers around, his glories of actually killing this demon. So this took place right here in Gokul. So remember this pastime. It's very significant. Putana represents false guru. So Krishna has to annihilate that conception of false guru before the sadhak can begin his journey. So it's the very first demon that Krishna annihilates. Of course, the demons are allowed entry into Braj so as Krishna can deliberately purify them, and Krishna can manifest his own sweet. Krishna never changes himself from a little child. This is actually Vishnu within. The Vishnu that was manifested in Mathura is the Vishnu that manifests, is the one who is destroying these demons. It's not Brajendranandan Shamsundar. He doesn't do anything like that. He just sits on the lap and took the nipple of the milk. That's all he did. But it's Vishnu within who actually kills Putana. So we hear this pastime many, many times. We should understand this is the first demon, and it's happening here in Gokul. So Gokul is saturated with these amazing, powerful pastimes. And this is still within the context, what we call Nara Lila, human-like pastimes, because Krishna is just a little baby. He didn't manifest in some huge form to kill this demon. He just remained as a child with his lips. He didn't do anything special. No one thinks that Krishna is God. This is why it's Nara Lila. It's Nara Lila because everyone's conception is that Krishna is just a child. So then, this is after 3 days. And then when I just described when Nanda Baba comes back, etc. There's a great festivity and purification of Krishna. They bring the Brahmins, etc., etc. Very beautiful description in Gopal Champu, this pastime. But just for being brief as I'm going through, then we come to 3 months later is the demon Shakatasura. Shakatasura is the cart demon. Now they're celebrating this Uttana sanskar when Krishna turns over, he rolls over onto his belly by himself, 3 months old, little baby, still completely Balya Leela. This is so enchanting. This is why Gokul today even, it has this mood of exceptional sweetness compared to Nandagan. Nandagan is where he's more in coming towards his Poganda age, his later years. But in Gokul, it's all just soaked in these very childhood, beautiful, beautiful Balya Leela pastimes. So then they're having a festival to celebrate Krishna turning over, this Uttana sanskar. And then Mother Yashoda, because there's so many people and she's distributing so much charity through the order and direction of Nanda Baba, and she's serving her guests so nicely, she puts Krishna under a sling placed under a huge, heavy, very powerful cart. There's a sling there. You often see them nowadays in India. You sometimes see these swings there. So Krishna is there and Krishna goes to sleep. And then this demon is in the form of a ghost and it takes the form of this cart, Shakata. Shakata means cart. So the demon becomes into the cart and wants to crush, on the order of Kamsa, wants to crush baby Krishna and starts to sink into the ground to crush Krishna. Krishna, of course, is fully cognizant of what's going on, or the Vishnu within Krishna is cognizant of what's going on. And as the demon, this heavy cart, starts to descend on baby Krishna, Krishna, just with his very tender lotus feet, just kicks that cart, just briefly kicks it, and it shatters completely. And you see here the cart demon is lying beside the cart. It reveals itself. And all the young boys, they see this. And when all the elder Gopas, Nanda Baba, Mother Yashoda, they come running, they're so confused. What happened? This was a powerful cart. How could it suddenly just crack and break like? The young boys are saying in their baby language, oh, Krishna, he just kicked it with his foot. Krishna's feet are so tender. Even when he's in his Kashura age, they're so tender. But now at a childhood age, they're even more tender. And he just kicked it. As we see here again. So this is when he's 3 months old. So Krishna does this right in the courtyard, practically, of Gokul. And then later on, of course, Mother Yashoda takes baby Krishna again, suckles him and calls the Brahmins, and again they perform so much puja. But they start to be aware now of these demons that Kamsa is sending to kill their child. Of course, they know that their child, it's been spoken by Garga Rishi, that he's going to be almost as great as Lord Narayan. He can be compared to Lord Narayan. He's not Lord Narayan, he says, but he can be compared to Lord Narayan. So they have that conception. So they're seeing these demons come. So then after Shakatasura, then one day Krishna, he's hearing the Gopas speak about Giriraj Govardhan. We spoke about Giriraj Govardhan the other day, the Saubhagya Tilak, the most fortunate tilak on the mandal of Brajamandal. And he hears the Gopa speaking so affectionately about Giriraj Govardhan. He has a desire to see Govardhan. He also has a desire to show his beautiful lotus-like face to the denizens of Swagaloka. He knows that they want to see and have darshan of him. So he has this desire. So again, it's Yogamaya through his Aishwarya Shakti that arranges, inspires the heart of Trinavrata to come and try to kidnap baby Krishna. Krishna, he's sitting on the lap of his mother. And all of a sudden, he becomes very, very heavy. And Mother Yashoda is concerned. Oh, why is my son suddenly become... She starts to think maybe some phantom or some ghost has come around here. She can't actually hold him anymore. She puts him down on the ground and she quickly goes into the next room to call some brahmanas to come and check on her son. But meanwhile, Trinavrata, who's just been causing chaos as a whirlwind, suddenly enters. Srirupa, of course, is a great demon that's again sent by Kamsa, and he scoops up Krishna. Krishna didn't want Srirupa to scoop up Mother Yashoda simultaneously. This is why he became so heavy. So everything is so beautifully orchestrated for Krishna's beautiful pastimes. And then he's carried into the sky. This whirlwind demon carries him so high, described 800 miles into the sky. How high does an airplane fly? 30,000 feet or something like that. This is, what did I say? 800 miles high. He's flying high. Krishna's holding onto his neck, enjoying seeing, having darshan of Giriraj Govardhan. For the first time in his life, he's seeing Govardhan. He's seeing what a bird's eye view of Braj. This is what he wanted to see. This was his desire. And he's looking around with great ecstasy and joy. And then they even come into the proximity of Swagaloka. And Krishna is aware of the devas there who are watching this pastime. And then he gives a beautiful, radiant smile to them. But then he smells the garlic from the mouth of Trinavrata. And he thinks, oh, this is just a demon that I'm holding on to. And then he holds on to him very, very tightly with his arms. And then he manifests his full bodily weight of all the Brahmans in existence are within his belly, his abdomen. So then this enormous weight comes in his body. Trinavrata can no longer swirl around like a devastating whirlwind. He's forced to actually slow down. And as soon as he starts to slow down, then he starts to descend very rapidly. And then Krishna is hanging on very, very tightly. And it's amazing if you consider this. The very moment of impact, Krishna knows it's going to crash on the ground. He jumps a few inches off the ground, so he doesn't take the brunt of the impact at all. He's just still sitting on the body of Trinavrata afterwards. So he's actually an enormous demon like Putana. And all the Brijvasis, they come and witness this straight away. And they bring Krishna back to Mother Yashoda again. Mother Yashoda again has become described like a cow who's lost her calf, completely in abstract anxiety again. So this is also inspiring in the heart of the Brijvasis, but more so in the heart of Mother Yashoda, this dynamic that we hear about constantly of meeting and separation. This is constantly a thread that's running through all of the pastimes of Krishna. Mother Yashoda is thinking that Krishna has gone. They're aware of this torturous, huge, massive whirlwind that's just burned its way through the whole village of Gokul and just upset everything, dragged trees away and so on like this. And Mother Yashoda is completely bereft, thinking that her Lala will be taken away forever then. So we can imagine the extremity of her fear of losing again her beautiful child. So when Krishna returns, then of course her meeting, so to speak, is absolutely redoubled 1,000 times. It's overwhelmed. The affection is increased. And this is what Krishna is doing and using all the demons for. For in every single demoniac pastime, Krishna churns the heart of the Brijavasis to increase. The nature of prem itself is only about increasing affection. If it's not increasing, if it's static, then there's no sweetness. It's ecstatic. It's always increasing. It's ever fresh. It's eternally increasing. So these three demons are very dramatically killed by Krishna. And then, of course, we have the beautiful pastime of the Dambanda Lila. And we see this churning pot just before we enter this village of Gokul. When we walk, because we can walk from Brahmanda-ghata to Gokul. And on the way walking, we come to this ulkal, this yogurt pot, which is still there today. There's a stone pot where the gopis and Mother Yashoda would churn the yogurt right here. So this is from that time. And the devotees ecstatically, we circumambulate this and we remember the beautiful Dambanda Lila that we're singing and chanting every single night of this Kartik Vrat. And here is the very place where Krishna was bound to this grinding mortar, and Mother Yashoda was churning the yogurt here. And again, when Krishna drags the mortar, when he's bound, this is again a mood of meeting and separation, like I've just described. Mother Yashoda, she has to chastise her son, as we'll hear more tomorrow and the next day about this Brahmanda-ghata. But when the grinding pot mortar is bound to Krishna's waist, then Krishna moves between the two trees, and the two trees, the twin Arjun trees that have been there, it's described for 100 years. They come crashing down, these two trees. And again, the whole of Vrindavan is totally traumatized by the devastating crashing of these trees. And again, the expectancy of losing their darling Lala is there in their minds and consciousnesses, that they're going to lose Krishna. But to their amazement, Krishna is just playing between the trees. He wasn't even scratched remotely. Nobody was hurt. And these two demigods, the Nalagriva and Manikuvera, they manifest from the trees, and then they circumambulate Krishna, and then they leave. And when Nanda Baba and all the gopas come, the boys, again, the small boys, because they're all the same age as Krishna. Krishna now is about 2.5 years old. So he's already killed Putana when he's 3 days old, then Shakatasura when he's 3 months old, and then Trinabrata when he's 1 year old. And now he's about 2.5 years old. And again, the whole of Braj has been traumatized by these two ancient trees that were there for 100 years, and they crashed to the ground. So this is a very moving situation for all the Brijbasis. And then, of course, Nanda Baba unties the mortar from Krishna's waist, and the whole drama we'll describe in our description of this Brahmanda-ghata, where Nanda Baba, he hears that Mother Yashoda has done this, so he gives her the harshest punishment that anyone can give in Braj. He doesn't talk to her. He doesn't talk to Mother Yashoda for the whole day. And he takes Balarama and Krishna to the Goshala. He brings kichoris and he brings ladus from his pocket, from his that he always carries to feed Krishna. And he takes them both to the Goshala and gives them the milk directly from the cows. It's called liquid gold. Doesn't need to be purified or anything like that. Straight into their mouths. Krishna is so happy, but he won't speak to Mother Yashoda. Even though he's been the naughtiest boy in the world, he's just broken this yogurt pot that she spent so much energy and time trying to make the best butter in the whole village for Krishna. And Krishna just smashed it out of frustration of not getting his mother milk. So we'll hear this pastime in much more detail tomorrow with Vaikanis Maharaj. I'm just telling you now in case we don't connect again. And the next day. So the next 2 days we're on for this Brahmanda-ghata. So, and then, so after these, like 4 occurrences I've just described, what is it? Putana, Shakatasura, Trinavrata, and the twin Arjun trees. These 4 demons, because it's like a demoniac aspect of these 2 trees falling down, in the same sense that fear, great fear, was engendered in the Brijbasis. So then, Upananda and Abhinanda, who are the senior counselors, it's a really wonderful pastime to appreciate how Nanda Baba, who is the 3rd son of Parjanya, became what they would call the king of Braj. Nanda Baba has 2 older brothers. Why didn't they become the king of Braj? Because those 2 older brothers, Upananda and Abhinanda, appreciated the exceptional qualities of Nanda Baba, and they wanted him to become the king of Braj. Normally, in a mundane material family, they would all be arguing with each other to take that kingship. But in a family, a transcendental family such as Nanda Baba and the Gopas, they all wanted Nanda Baba to become the king. Nanda Baba was reluctant to take that post, but then all his brothers, his 4 brothers, supported Nanda Baba taking that role. And there's a beautiful ceremony described in Gopal Champu, where he's given a royal robe and he's accepted. It is a kingship for the village. He is the king. And because if Krishna is going to be the prince of Braj, his father must be king. So Krishna is Nanda Baba is the king of Braj. Mother Yashoda is the queen of Braj. Sri Radhika is the princess of Braj, but she's also the queen because Brinda Devi gives her that ownership. So Nanda Baba, in consultation with Abhimanyu and Upananda and Abhinanda, they decide that we must leave here. We must go back to our ancestral homes in Nandagaon. There's just too many demons here. We're too close to Mathura. Our grandfather, Parjanya, he left Nandagaon because of fear of Keshi demon. But now we've got some confidence in the strength of this young child, Krishna. He will protect us, as Garga Rishi has said, he will protect us from all our enemies. So then they make their way back gradually. It takes them about a year with all their carts and so on to cross over the Jamuna into the forest of Vrindavan, and they circumambulate Giriraj Govardhan. It's about what, 35, almost 40 kilometers from Gokul across Vrindavan and around Govardhan, and then they settle north of Govardhan in the hills of Varshana, and the hill, because of course Vrishabhanu Maharaj, who we're going to hear about in a minute, is always accompanying Nanda Baba. And then Vrishabhanu stays in Varshana, and Nanda Baba stays in Nandagaon. So these are the pastimes that we're hearing today. Just put the map on again. In the map, I want you to orientate yourself with the map, because personally I feel very inspired by the geography of Braj. In our meditations, we can look at this map many times, because you see here in this bottom right-hand corner, Gokul and Brihat Ban it's called. And in a minute, we're going to go to Raval, which is just down below. And in the back of this hand, there's a forest of Lohavana, or above we can see that forest of Lohavana. So this is and then they traveled all across to Giriraj, across the Jamuna to Giriraj, and then they circumambulated around Pucheri, around the bottom of Giriraj. Put your cursor around the bottom of Giriraj. Yes, and then go around, circumambulate Giriraj, go up, and then across up to Varshana and Nandagaon. If you expand the map again, you can see where Nandagaon and Varshana are in relationship to Giriraj. So it's quite a distance that they went. So this is the movements of the Brijbasis during Krishna's Balya Leela. So now you can expand that map again. It's got all over the place now. Just put it back to normal a minute. Okay, now, so this is Gokul that we just, if you go to Gokul today, there's beautiful pastimes of personalities who have done bhajan there and being granted the authority by the kings that this properties would never be attacked or disturbed. So it's like a sanctuary today. It's a sanctuary for the cow. Gokul, go means cows. So Gokul, the place of the cows. This is a sanctuary, and you can feel to even 5,000 years later, there's a great sweetness in the atmosphere, absolutely no doubt, in Gokul. All of these forests of Braj, every single one has totally unique qualities, totally unique pastimes. They all have special flavors, and Gokul itself has an extraordinary flavor because so many demons that I've described were killed here in Gokul. So the love and praying that manifested during those demonic pastimes or those demons attacking was extraordinary. We can't imagine, especially this Dambandalila we sing every single night in Kartik. This was extraordinary. The outflowing of praying that happened when finally Krishna runs to Mother Yashoda, when it's suggested that if he doesn't come to her, she might leave her body, because it's become that extreme. Mother Yashoda's anxiety in separation from Krishna is so extreme after this binding pastime. The whole of Braj is traumatized by this binding of Krishna's pastime. So this all takes place in Gokul. And then just south of Gokul, I think it's south or north of Gokul, is Raval. Raval means influential landlord. That's what Raval means. You open the map, open it more, expand it more. You can't expand the map. Okay, you can see here Raval just below the hand. So Gokul and Raval is above. Raval is the place, of course, of Vrishabhanu Maharaj. And today, when we go to Raval, it's such a divine place. We could say it's almost like out of fairyland. It's just so beautiful. Very tall, flowering, green, shady, huge trees are there. We can perhaps get a picture of Raval from a distance, not in the courtyard, but a scenic, no, that's the gate, a distant one. I think you have a distant one there. Oh, she doesn't have it. Okay, but in the Prikrama book, there's one where you can see when you approach Raval, it's again on a hill, and it's very, very beautiful. And of course, this is where Vrishabhanu Maharaj one day came out to do his morning bathing in the Jamuna. And in the Jamuna, there was an effulgent lotus, 1,000-petal lotus. And on that 1,000-petal lotus, there was a small child. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj, he picks up that child, a beautiful, most beautiful, effulgent girl child, female child. He picks up that child. He's mesmerized. He already has a son, Sridham, and he's mesmerized by this child. This child is so loving and so effulgent and beautiful. He picks up that child and takes it home and places it in the lap of Kirtida. Of course, we hear the story that originally this child was kidnapped by Putana from the Himalaya. Menaka, the wife of Himalaya, wanted a child. That's a long story that's described in Lalit Madhav by Rupa Goswami, how Chandravali and many of the gopis were actually kidnapped and were manifested in the Himalaya. And Putana, she went to the Himalaya to bring those children to Kamsa, because she thought they could be the consort of, because she was ordered to kill not only the boys, but to kill the young girls. Kamsa suspected that my killer, Krishna, his consort has also been born, Lakshmi Devi, in some form. So he ordered his servants to kill all the female children also. And so Putana, she goes there and she brings back, she kidnaps those children from the Himalaya and she brings them, but the wife, Vrindachal, the wife of Vrindachal, she calls the Brahmanas very quickly, and they throw direct mantras onto Putana as she's flying with these children. So these children, they all drop in different places. And Sri Radhika, she drops in the Jamuna in one kalpa, one day of Lord Brahma. In another day of Lord Brahma, she drops in Vrishabhanu Kund. When we go to Varshana in a few days' time, we'll hear this same pastime described, where Vrishabhanu Maharaj discovers Radhika in Vrishabhanu Kund. But here in Raval today, we're understanding that actually she dropped in the Jamuna into this beautiful 1,000-petaled lotus and places her on the lap of Kirtida. We should understand that originally the Radhika was born from the womb of Kirtida, and she was transferred to the womb of Vrindachal in the Himalaya, and then manifested there, and then is brought. So we can read this story or tell this story in more detail soon, because our time is running a little short. So this is the birth, or this is a better picture. So this is close by. This is the Jamuna that runs beside Raval. You can see the extraordinary beauty of this place. And we sit many years, we've got a picture of my Gurudev with all the devotees. And you can see we sit in the courtyard here and we hear much Harikatha. No. The courtyard picture. Yes, here we go. Open it right out. Open it. Can't see it. Open it more. You can see we're all sitting here with Srila Gurudev in the courtyard. Gurudev is in the top left. Yes. And we're all sitting here. So we would come here after Gokul. And it's very beautiful because it would be very much cooler. It was usually quite hot when we came here from the buses. But when we come into Raval, somehow it always seemed very cool. And we would stay here. And often we would take prasadam here. We would have come on our buses through the dust, etc. And it would be so attractive. The environment, the trees, the Jamuna River herself, and all these udipans surrounding the beautiful palace of Rishabhanu Maharaj was here in Raval. So this is Raval, where we've come, when we can spend more time, when we can walk through these places. This is the Thakurji in Raval, very beautiful. And we have beautiful kirtan here. And we remember, of course, Sri Radhika growing up as a child here, before they also, with Nanda Baba, as I've just described previously, all shifted back to their ancestral places of Varshana and Nandagaon. But initially in their Balya Leela, this all manifested here in Gokul and Raval, which are of course very close to each other. Also very close to here is the forest of Lohavana, which is just above this forest we can see on the map is Lohavana. Lohavana is more like a place of sages. Parshuram Rishi has his ashram there. Vyasadeva has an ashram there. And Durvasa Rishi ashram borders on Lohavana. So we visit Durvasa Rishi ashram. You can see Durvasa Rishi ashram across from Mathura, directly across the Jamuna. So my Gurudev, he has built this Durvasa Rishi ashram. I don't think you have a picture of it. You have, okay. So it's a very splendid ashram. And it was the first temple that my Gurudev built very early on. In the mid-90s, he began to build this temple. Enormous place to position Radha and Krishna on the other side of the Jamuna. Yes, it's a huge temple. It's the biggest temple in the area, but it's on the other side of the Jamuna, across from Mathura. Mathura, its buildings crowd right down to Vishram-ghat and the Jamuna, but on the other side, there's like nothing because the Jamuna will flood for about 2 miles. And this is traditionally the hill where Durvasa Rishi had his ashram many thousands, millenniums of years ago. So Tila means hill. So this is where Durvasa Rishi stayed and performed the pastime with Ambarish Maharaj. This is back in Satya Yuga. Durvasa Rishi's pastimes span all the 4 yugas. So now my Gurudev, most of the acharyas, they all have their special connections, it seems, with Shivji, Mahadev. So Durvasa is that manifestation from Shivji. Remember the pastime of Anasuya and Atri Rishi. The Atri Rishi was performing austerities, pastimes, and Anasuya was his most chaste wife. Narad Muni was in the celestial airwaves and he was proclaiming the chastity of Anasuya. So Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati, they were incensed to think that there must be someone who's more chaste than us. He was proclaiming Anasuya was more chaste than them. So they conspired together, the 3 of them, 3 wives of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. They just conspired to test this Anasuya. Is she really so chaste that Narad Muni will sing about her so nicely? So they requested their husbands to go to Anasuya's ashram and request Madhukari. And they told the husbands what they had to do. So when Brahma, Shiva, and Mahesh came as disguised mendicants, and they begged Anasuya for some alms, Anasuya prepared a beautiful plate to offer them. But then these 3 personalities said, no, we want you to present it to us naked. The wives thought, well, this is going to smash her reputation as the most chaste lady. So Anasuya, she was a little bit surprised about this request. So she runs up the mountainside beside her ashram and she asks her husband, Atreya Rishi, these three mendicants have come. They've asked me to give them this plate, but they want me to be naked when I give it to them. So Atreya Rishi previously had been praying for a son, but he didn't know. He wanted a son like God, but he didn't know exactly who was the supreme controller. Was it Brahma, Shiva, or Mahesh? He wasn't sure about who was the supreme Lord. So he prayed to all three of them. So all three of them have come to his ashram. So he sees that in his meditation. And then he tells Anasuya, you do whatever is necessary. She comes down and she understands from her husband what he's seeing. Anasuya is such a mystic personality also. She comes down and then these three mendicants, they've requested the mother Anasuya to be naked. And then Anasuya, she says, I will be naked on the condition that you all three sit as children on my lap. And within a moment, these three little boys are sitting on her lap, taking her breast milk, etc. They've manifested as her children. So then after some days, the three wives, Saraswati, Parvati, and who else? Lakshmi Devi, they request, they come as just regular looking ladies, and they request Anasuya to please give them their husbands back. But Anasuya says, no, they're my children now. And then by divine arrangement, expansions of these three personalities again return to their wives. But these three forms remain with Anasuya. So Anasuya is the mother of Durvasa, that is the Shiva aspect, and the mother of Dattatreya, who is coming from Vishnu, and the mother of Soma, who is coming from Lord Brahma. So these three boys, they remain with Anasuya in the ashram. So if you get a chance to go and visit this ashram that my Gurudev planted or built on the other, it's always been there, but it was in great, it was falling apart basically. There was nothing there. But my Gurudev went and he established these beautiful deities in the center of Radha, Vinod Bihari, and Sachinandan Gaur. On the left, we see Durvasa, and on the right is Vrinda Devi, Jamuna Devi. And on the right in the front, you can see Jamuna Devi's crocodile carrier, like Ganga Devi, a crocodile carrier. These deities are really, really beautiful. So previously, Radha and Krishna were not on the other side of the Jamuna. But my Gurudev desired everyone to taste the speciality of Radha and Krishna's praying through the form of Mahaprabhu. So he desired that. And somehow or other, the owners of this property, they came to my Gurudev and they offered this property to him. My Gurudev refused it initially. He said, no, only when you bring me the titles and the deeds properly through the courts will I accept it. So it took about 18 months, almost 2 years. Then they brought all the deeds and titles and they presented to my Gurudev. The same day my Gurudev came and he invested a great amount of his Lakshmi in this wonderful temple. It's 4 or 5 stories high. It's very beautiful. We go there at the beginning of our curriculum. So this is in the border of Lohavana. So we've come to Gokul today, the celebrated Balya Leela, childhood pastimes of Krishna. And Brahmanda-ghata and Dauji are there in this place. These are both all very, very beautiful parikrama we've had today, but quite tiring because it's a long journey. It's very dusty on the buses, but it's very ecstatic. The guitar and the places that we visited are very invigorating and inspiring. And we've come to Raval, and very soon, in 3 or 4 days, we'll go to Nandagan itself, we'll go to Varshana itself, and we'll continue the Leelas of Radha and Krishna and Nanda Baba and Vrishabhana Maharaj and Kirtidan will continue their leelas. So try to get the picture of the geography where it's all taking place. I think it'll help get a more direct appreciation of the pastimes. So I think I've taken all my time. Thank you so much for your patience in listening to the pastimes and leelas. Very ecstatic places of parikrama pastimes. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanshakapatrubhyascha, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo.
Jai. Thank you so much, Maharaj. I like the geography very much because sometimes when we're on Vrindavan Parikram and we're on the buses and we're not really thinking where we're going or where the bus is taking us, but having that visual image, okay, this is where we're going and this is the location is it puts so much more of the picture together for us.
I
So
can talk all day. I love to talk about the geography because to me it means a lot too. I like to know where I am, where I'm going, what are the different forests, what are their natures. Because once you get the directions of the forest, then you want to know what happens in Kamyavan, what happens in Talvan, and then you start to get, it's our eternal home, Krishna.
yeah.
It's our eternal home.
And yeah, you get the picture of where like Krishna has moved through his life. I like that you were explaining like even before Krishna was born, they were first in Mathura, and then they because of the demon Keshi.
First Nandagan.
Nandagan, yes, Nand.
Yeah.
And then they had to move across the river to Gokul, and then eventually make their way back. So no, it's really cool, and you always hear about like Vrindavan being like this lotus that folded on itself, and so that Krishna could be in these different places. So it's very, very fascinating to see. So thank you so much, Maharaj, for sharing those beautiful pastimes today and taking us through the early first few years of Krishna's life and the pastimes he performed there. My Dandavat pranams to you, Maharaj. Thank you. I think Yashoda wants to make one little announcement about tomorrow's program.
Haribol, Dandavat pranams. Maharaj, fantastic, ecstatic, as always. So is Vekanas Maharaj, and I don't need to say much to you both. Tomorrow we are having 2 rest days, tomorrow and the day after, which is Harikatha of Sri Damodar Ashtakam. So both Vekanas Maharaji and Sripad Bhaktivedanta Tridandi Maharaji will both be speaking on verse 2 of Damodar Ashtakam. Please note that the times have changed slightly in the UK. India is the same; it doesn't change.
Verse 3, I think we're up to.
Verse 3? Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yes. Sorry, I missed verse 2. Verse 3.
Yeah.
And tomorrow, just please make a note for those that are kind of living in the UK and other places that the time zones have changed. The times have changed because of the time zone daylight saving situation. So just keep an eye out of the time zone differences in your areas if it has changed or not changed. In India, it doesn't impact it at all year round. So that's really good and useful. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say, and thank you to everyone that spoke. Vishnupriya, over to you, and Haribol Dandavat pranams, everyone.
Lovely, thank you so much, Yash. Just to finish off this beautiful program, we're going to finish off with a little kirtan. I think we have Damayanti Day flying all the way in from Australia to sing this kirtan for the pleasure of Sri Gauranga Gauranga. Damayanti Day, are you here?
Dandavat pranams. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Iti Namine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Shri Guru Prasthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Madhava Iti Namine Gurave Guru Chandrai Radhika Tadale Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. I'm going to sing Pakarenge on page 368. Pakarenge Nayare Bhaja Krishna Kanaya Pakarenge Nayare Bhaja Krishna Kanaya Krishna Kanaya Dauji Kabaya Krishna Kanaya Dauji Kabaya Krishna Kanhaiya Bamsi Bajaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Bamsi Bajaya, Makhana Chu Raya Re Baja Krishna Kanhaiya, Makhana Chu Raya Re Baja Krishna Kanhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya Girivardhaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Girivardhaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Girivardhaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Girivardhaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Mitra Sudama Tandulalaye, Mitra Sudama Tandulalaye, Kalilaga Prabhu Bhoga Lagaye, Kalilaga Prabhu Bhoga Lagaye, Kaha 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 Maya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Kaha 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 Maya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Arjuna Karatarana Mehaka, Arjuna Karatarana Mehaka, Shamaniya Giridhari Baka, Shamaniya Giridhari Baka, Kalina Gana Daya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Kalina Gana Daya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Chupata Sutta Jabadustana Geri, Chupata Sutta Jabadustana Geri, Rakila Jana Kini Deri, Rakila Jana Kini Deri, Agachiraba Daya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Agachiraba Daya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya Dauji Kabaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya Dauji Kabaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya Bamsi Bajaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Bamsi Bajaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Girivardhaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Girivardhaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Krishna Kanhaiya Rasa Rachaya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Pakarenge Naya Re Bhaja Krishna Kanhaiya, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Haribo.
Hari
Bunch
Hari
of